Welcome to the segment where you choose what we talk about every day between 2 to 2:20. We'll talk about the tickers that you voted for during How to Trade, the midday show. The big kahunas are locked in and ready to give you their look at the markets. Let's start off with the market, though. The market in general, the triple Qs, locked into this kind of range all day, guys. We're locked in that 452-ish area, a little bit higher, a little bit low. The futures have been in a bit of a range today. So have the Mag 7 names. A bit of a tougher trade today for the breakout traders. Great day for the range traders. First on the list, AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. No specific headline for AMD today, but we saw what they did last week with the announcement of those new GPUs. And ironically enough, the market has been selling off on that news. Intel coming out today and announcing their rival processor, the Xeon 6, and that had AMD in a bit of a tough day today. Adair taking that short. Great look today for her, guys. How did you trade if you traded AMD?
Yeah, so I actually did not trade AMD today, but it doesn't matter. We can go over it. Although, man, what's up with that Nike chart, that V shape right at the end of the midday? Yeah, I'm going to dig into that at least a little bit because when you get a V shape like that, usually there's something brewing and you can try to find some trades off it. Look, at the end of the day, AMD has been relatively weak, and we saw this yesterday with the falling knife. It just couldn't catch any kind of a bid. You're losing the 50 period. There's like one leg left on this recent consolidation, and that's at $158. And this recent consolidation is even with the announcement that they had, you know, their newest AI chip day after, like the same time essentially as NVIDIA came out with theirs. You had Intel come up with theirs, and they got sold off, but AMD as well. So maybe it's a valuation thing. Maybe it's just the fact that they're not NVIDIA. I think that's as simple as it is. The good news for if you like the long, I suppose, on AMD would be that the 160 level is holding right now. I'm sure that we've been shorting Micron because Micron was, I think, like an easier trend to work with. And we'll maybe talk. Oh, no, Intel's not in there. We'll get to Intel a little bit later on. Don't have any trades on in that. But you are getting a pretty decent hold of 160 with a wipeout bottom underneath. So if you're looking to buck the trend, about the only thing that has worked and looked pretty clean has been this 160 level, like randomly 161 a bit earlier. But the trend is down on AMD. Only because for some reason we don't have NVIDIA on this list for the first time. This is the difference. NVIDIA strong, flat on the day, and AMD down that 2%. I think if we lose $158 on AMD, I think it'll be a buying opportunity in the long term. That said, if it happens, that opportunity is down at a pretty big key $140 level. I'll have to zoom way out so that the 200 period, there you go, will actually show you why I like the 200 periods at that 140. If we lose 158, I think that'll be a good buy zone for AMD, and it's seemingly likelier and more likely each day this looks weak relative to NVIDIA.
Hard to disagree with that. I mean, we said this earlier, like, why not just mess with NVIDIA and nothing else? We actually changed up and went with Micron. I will talk about this is, I just tweeted this out, a couple shorts here today on Micron, and it's just been what's working out for us, and we've been doing it again, and we're in Micron now. I just have to take a fill, and it will get updated. By the way, shout out to my guy, Phil. All right, I just tweeted this out too, by the way. Like, look at the quality of this podcast here with these little snippets in here. Go have a look, man. I mean, this is pretty awesome. We're talking about paying bills, working 9 to 5 and all of that. Like, go check it out right here. Maybe if I can, I'll put this link in the chat. You guys can go have a quick look at this. We keep saying it, but the team, Fabian and everybody else behind the scenes, Ramin, putting in a lot of work for all of this. So, go have a quick look at it. All right, AMD, just real quick. So, it's okay. I was gonna say, is this at 160? Yes, it is. This should be a long. There is, again, stupid me, going out, going for walks, all that kind of stuff. We should be going long right here. We were prepping for this week's podcast. So that's going to be hot fire as well. Like we said, no rest for the wicked around here. 159.90 or so. I mean, wow. That is I sure hope there's some people around here that had that trade. Like that's a good one there for AMD. And we really like that level. It hit it the other day. It hit it over here. It has only cracked it once in 3 weeks. And that was this day there where it recovered completely the next day. To me, that's a no-brainer trade. So we'll wait to see if AMD gets to 160. Let's wait and see. The market is up and AMD is getting clobbered. So I think the trade might be not just a long at 160, but let's see what the market does. Maybe we push through 160 and we use that as the top to get out of our short. So let's wait to see what happens there. Would have liked to have been here before, especially the first time it hits it. I mean, the first time a level is hit, that's when you want it. That gave you a $1.50 right there. So yeah, 12.18.
Volume bottom.
Yeah, and you get the volume there. Yeah, that's too bad. There was definitely an opportunity there, but that's okay. AMD, you know, we will not have FOMO on AMD today, but kind of getting it right now looking at that chart. So we'll wait to see what happens here at 160. I like it. What's up, Asta? What's up, everybody else? Starbucks, start of something, or Starbucks, I have Roblox, start of something special. Hold on a second, Sharif. Let me just see what's going on with
Starbucks while you're playing Roblox.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's for sure. I was just talking with my wife. She's on the way to Loblaws, and of course, there's a Starbucks in Loblaws, so she will be getting the cold. She told me there's some sort of cold brew.
Yes.
The cold foam, macchiato, no, not like macadamian, light chocolate macadamian cold foam.
Fancy. That's
super
fancy.
Fancy. Super fancy. But wow, yeah. I mean, I really like Roblox. This was one of the trade. This was our trade of the week 2 weeks ago when we talked about it breaking through this 34 level. So there goes Roblox. We really like it. We talked with Mike Edward from True Trading Group. Is he on today, by the way? No. Okay. We talked about it. He didn't love the Roblox look, so I'm gonna hold off on going too crazy in this name, but I do like Roblox. All right, hey, look, we have the market is on the board. I like that. I like that. We always get caught trading it, so let's go and let's go see what's up with I Spy with my little eye, Sharif over at the green screen.
Something that is
right on, Sean. Spy next over here, and as you can see, we're making progressively higher lows, trying to get back into positive territory. Marginally red here as the Spy inches it back into 457. We saw on the midday show how range-bound those Mag 7 names were. The overall market in general kind of following that same suit. Did you guys trade Spy today or have a look at the futures in general?
Jarhead nailing it, and I'm texting it to my wife right now because she'll love this talk. Because I was literally just talking about it with her. I mean, that's the other thing about the podcast. It's like we'll talk about, just like Neil and I do right here, right now. Like we'll just talk about things that are happening. Like I was just talking with her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, she's walking to this grocery store. She's gonna get stuff for tonight. She makes this great salad that has like salami in it, olives. It's like a sub, but in a salad form." There's a name for it. It's like a hot thing on TikTok.
What we got to do is the next time Raiders on,
yeah,
we should make that salad with the olives in there and then eat it in front of him because
so both my
people who don't like olives.
Yeah. It has all that, and I'll get the name of that. But there it is right here. Jarhead says white chocolate macadamia cold foam cold brew. That sounds about right. So shout out to that. It's a new summertime drink. And then my daughter gets the Dream coconut drinks, whatever those are. There's a new summer thing. Yeah, exactly.
Dream, you know what? The name of the drink?
Shut up, Sean, and just buy the damn Starbucks stock and just forget about it, and then we just pay for all our drinks no matter what. Again, join me on Freedom and Wealth, and we'll talk all about that. Let the companies pay for you.
Oh, is it Daydream? You know, is it this?
Those, whatever the Starbucks new summer drinks are. Okay. They're made with coconut. Apparently they're fantastic. You can get one with lemon. Lemonade, I think it is. Bring back the fruit salad segment. Okay, here it is right there. What's up, Jarhead? It is now time to get that fruit salad going. I don't have any with me, but we still do get the fruit salad. So shout out to you, Jarhead. All right, back on track. It's my party, and I will digress if I want to. All right, here we go. SPY right now. I mean, look, we don't normally look at SPY. That's why I didn't go to AM right there on the Amex and the NYSE ARCA exchange. All right, so the S&P 500. So those of you wondering what the SPY is, of course, it is just the E-minis when you're looking at the S&P 500, like we are down here. You're now down 0.12. I generally look at the NASDAQ, but let's just have a quick look right here, right now. Look, some weakness lately in some of the financials, obviously holding this back, but we've had a nice little rebound in many names. over the last couple days. But this is the top 500 companies, so it's the breadth of the whole market. We're at highs. I mean, we are relatively at highs. I feel like there is going to be a pullback coming. I've been net short. I mean, although today we have some good longs on board, we'll talk about the Micron that we have, I'm still thinking of looking short. So as we continue to look at the SPY, and again, I haven't looked at it at the same levels as the NASDAQ, but looking at some of these highs, I just want to be short. The trend really has been down, but this sort of correction day that we had on Friday where we just rallied all the way up into the close there, there's been some huge rallies at the end of the day. So I feel like you got to find lows and then sell tops. But where's the top in the afternoon? Hard to find. So right now, look what's happening. NASDAQ making its way back up. E-minis making its way back up. So here's the SPY. I'm not shorting. Yesterday we got hit going short. The TQs at the end of the day, not gonna, was that yesterday or the day before? I think it was yesterday. Not gonna, and it was AMD the day before. Not gonna do it again here today. So for me, buy dips. Let's keep watching 525 or retracements back to VWAP. I'm sure Randy over there has something to say. We do want to bring him on for XOM.
Yes.
You know what? Can we add something to the rundown? And we'll do XOM.
Energy.
So you want to come to do XOM in 5 minutes? Jesus Christ, this guy just went and got another haircut. Hey, is there any work that ever gets done around here?
That's looking sharp, man. Trim the.
I see you're
the
beating
beard's
the
all
fifth.
nice and trim.
It's been a real busy day. I can see that. All right, Randy, living his best life. I like it. We do want to talk about XOM, but we're just going to do the rundown, and then.
There's lots of work being done in that room, but there's two of the three have been doing plenty of work. I'm just going to throw that out there because I see Mark and Robin there all the time, and I see one of the three that always has a nice haircut and a coffee. I'm just saying, Randy has a coffee. He's got the haircut. The beard's all looking nice. I can't add anything to the daily look, the intraday look on the SPY because Sean nailed it there, and I don't think I want to short that. Look, the way that Apple's going and the way that NVIDIA is going, I think you want to sit it out trying to fight that market. But on the higher time frame and the weekly chart, it's a consolidation over the top on the weekly. So 525, it's a consolidation over that top. So yes, it's like this little pullback that we're seeing with some weakness, but we're not breaking 525. We close this week holding this level and break out the top again, then it's just another leg up. That said, it's not over. You could still roll back from here, but I think 525 is that key level on the weekly. As long as that continues to kind of play in the middle, I think it should be okay for the upward trend. But you're showing signs of weakness, though today, strong. Like you're just breaking it out again here on the SPY, about to go green in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bang.
Okay, maybe not. They just pull it back because we jinxed it.
Just the other thing to talk about with the SPY quickly, because it's not on here, is Apple. So I just want to bring this to everyone's attention. We're hella long down here. This was the trade of the day. We talked about it, the largest position, and it was a monster, and we don't have much left. We barely have any left, but it's back out to the high of the day. And because we're talking about the market, hard to talk about that without looking at what's definitely leading it today, Apple up 0.44. So as this continues to climb, the market will probably follow. So just watch Apple and watch Softy.
Marathon Digital having one hell of a day, on the verge of breaking 8%. Ironic, though, JP Morgan downgrading it today to underweight, or maintaining it underweight and lowering the price target to $14. Didn't matter because Bitcoin was running with Ethereum, and that had the entire crypto industry in the green. Did you guys look at any crypto names today?
Actually, in the lesson of the day, I was like, thank goodness we didn't just stick to shorting blindly that level on Coinbase, because once 170,000 was gone, it didn't make any sense. Like the first couple of times it got to 239 on Coin, it was a decent pullback. By the time it got to the 40 level, you were absolutely breaking out. In Bitcoin, which did reach 71, it's pulled back a little bit here. But Mara gives you outsized moves as well. I think this afternoon there's a decent chance that Mara could take out the top. But if you can see on the 15-minute chart, where's the problem been? Every time it gets above like 21.20, above 21, in the 21.20s, you've seen that pullback. The difference here is you're getting a retest and a double top without a huge dip. Now, the same pattern happened, this would be on Thursday of last week, with there's your test of the high, there's another test, it dipped, and then came back in, couldn't break the top at 230 and then flushed. So I don't want to, not to be a negative Nancy, but literally the last time it did something similar to this, the second test ended up pulling back. So I think you want to see the buyers not just break the level, but hold above 2130. If that can happen on a consolidation, I think you can look for a long and maybe you get a 10% day on Mara. Bitcoin holding 70,000 after doing a heck of a lot of nothing, I think is a pretty good catalyst. And keep in mind, Mara, that's not bad. A bounce off a support at 14, followed by a bounce on a higher low off the 200 period moving average, followed by a bounce off 19 at the 50 period moving average. All roads lead to 23. I got 23 marks. I think that's the next big breakout on this name is going to be through 23. And when it gets there, hopefully we'll be putting some trades on. You never know because sometimes you gap through levels like that. You don't actually get an even dollar breakout because you wake up one day and instead of it being at 22.50 or wherever it is now, it's at 23.5 and then you don't get the breakout trade. But I think that's the next big key test for Mara here.
All right, Tesla's next. I was just going to say, we are thinking about getting some out of Tesla, but since it's coming right up, let's wait to see what winds up happening now with Tesla. So, all right, let's go back to the desk. I don't have anything on crypto other than the fact that Bitcoin is going to 100,000. You can mark it down. What's up, Sharif?
Chinese vehicle sales data coming out overnight, and it was definitely not a good look for Tesla, at least year over year, that is. 6.6% drop in vehicle sales for Elon Musk's company there. They're still to the tune of 72,573 vehicles. Not a bad look, but definitely losing their market dominance as we see some of these smaller players really make inroads with the Chinese consumer. Guys, what was the look on Tesla?
Look, we love Tesla today. We only have 5 ideas on here. GameStop, nowhere near support, so we don't have to worry about that one. We just got another fill on Micron. Bang that one out for another 15 cents. It's falling down. All right, so Tesla right now, those are just collecting some pennies from the sky. Google short, we'll talk about that. Apple long, Amazon, but Tesla long. So we did like that early. So let's have a quick look at what Tesla happened to us. So we missed it early on and we were like, oh man, I can't believe we missed this. Blah, blah, blah. But then, thank you very much, came screaming right back into that 174. Look, you got to take it, right? We're long at 174.30 there. Boom to the upside. Our best out is 175.52. That is, a decent trade. But right now, we're starting to go higher right now on Tesla. So here we go. Nice move back up to the upside. We are now at $2 in the money on the remainder of this Tesla trade, and we actually have a decent spot left of it. So, we did well holding on to this, but you're coming into, again, a spot where we might want to be taking some out. But we already said we're not shorting the market. It's been a huge move up right here, and you can see this is continuously going. So maybe Tesla gets some juice. It's still red on the day. We like it. We like it a lot. It is your sticky note trade idea, and it's an absolute monster right there right now. And hey, Rob, I'll show this to you in a second. All right, Neil, there you go.
The best part about Tesla is it gave it to you both ways. It gave it to you every single trade you could want. This morning, when that news hit, at the end of the day, I made my morning note and all that stuff that you prepare for happens before we get that big drop. But the second that happened and we dropped through, my idea was just simply short back in. It was bad news, short it off of that high, wait patiently for it. We scalped it for $1.30 the first time. The second time we scalped it for 80 pennies. Then just went double bottom long in here for a quick buck on Tesla. So Tesla ends up being 3 for 3, just waiting for the periphery. At this point, I think you're turning a little bit bullish, even if it's an inside day. This is exactly where it closed. So technically you're trading in the inside, but the market's trending up. And since the open is trending up. So I do think you got to respect that. While all this was happening, Google came in, whoops, that is not Alphabet. This is Google. Just came into VWAP. Yesterday we had this in the afternoon, right off of VWAP. It eventually broke, but we got a pullback. I just got this one in at 75 in front of VWAP on a bit of a pullback in the market or push up in the market. So this is relatively weak compared to the Apples of the world, but this is feeling a little different from yesterday. A little bit more strength, I think. This gave you that move right at 3 o'clock where it pulled back. It gave you another one just before 2 o'clock. It's trying to do the same thing twice, but it feels a little bit stronger here. So my stop is just above VWAP on Alphabet. And oddly enough, I didn't think necessarily we'd have too much action. And there we go. So I actually just showed you, kept on the screen there. Just broke VWAP. I'm going to get out of Google. Do not want to fight this one. It's been a good day. I'm not going to fight the market. Either we fail VWAP or we don't. Let's get on to some GameStop, which, believe it or not, was actually good. We got a trade this afternoon.
Roaring kitty under the microscope for market manipulation. E-Trade coming out overnight and saying they're going to investigate whether or not to remove him from the platform after the trade with the options and the equities there being revealed Sunday night. It's been a sell the news kind of event, guys, on GameStop. A little bit of a tough day into the open yesterday and continuing the sell-off today. What was the look on GameStop?
So I actually like $23 on GameStop, and we just never had any opportunity to trade off of it. It's not necessarily rocket science. One of my favorite strategies, or one of the favorite ways to find levels, would simply be, okay, well, what's a previous big resistance level? So there you go, like there's 26 down there, and then beneath that, you've got the lower high, which was at 23. So when you zoom it like a little bit in, you'll see like there was your 23 underneath the 26. I thought if we dipped down and the news was all bad, we'd go for that, and then it would be, you know, Bob's your uncle or whatever. Like that's the one place that we wanted to play this name. And ultimately, there was no play for me. You would have actually heard me say this morning that I'm going to short AMC on pops. So here's AMC. We shorted it once, twice, scalped some out, but eventually we end up taking 2 hits on AMC. The good news, 2 negative trades on AMC, 1 positive trade on GME, and then up between the 2. That's what risk management does for you. So I didn't think there would be an obvious level that we'd get other than 23 on GameStop, but then it puts in higher lows. You do the higher low thing and then dip into VWAP. I'm going to take the dip into VWAP. We had it 27 into the 28 level, got 27.80. So thankfully, essentially GameStop gave us back the AMC money early and a little bit more. And it just bounced off VWAP again, though with a lower high. There were a few people in the chat that were saying they're waiting for a 28 break. I don't disagree. That top is pretty much exactly 28, maybe a cent or 2 higher. And then you had a top here at 11.12 time of day, which was also at $28. If it's going to break out, squeezes and short covering tends to happen when big levels get broken. Just keep in mind, there's also that massive 32 level from yesterday where this turned around. That's like a 10% range. If it breaks 28, you're 10% to yesterday's resistance. So suffice to say there's room to run if this gets through $28. Not that I'm expecting it that it gets to 32, but I think it's at least worth a shot to look for some longs in GameStop this afternoon.
You guys want to talk about massive? We have a $1 and a $2 winner on both positions on board. And we're actually, we ended our trade on Micron as it broke through 50.
Yeah.
So there it goes. I mean, you know, not much I can do on that. Breaks the level, we're out. But I just tweeted out like, hey, is there anything I can do to actually tag Trader Tammy, who's on with us tonight, by the way. I have to find that out. But anyways, like, look at Apple just ripping through the moon. Who? Ooh, Brian Shannon. Oh, good. Okay. All right, so here we go right here. Tesla coming up to 176.50, right into that area again. $2 plus winner on right now on Tesla as that's trying to go. But GameStop was another one of the ideas that we had. We only had 5 ideas on something called the sticky note, and it was GameStop, and it was $23. So again, without sitting here and staring at it all day, haven't been able to get a look or anything put on for it. So yeah, I mean, I still like those levels. I don't really want to, you know, mess around with it too much right now. I mean, if it breaks 28, I think that's go. So yeah, maybe we could try a break at 28 and then use the 50 period as our stop, which would only be 50 cents lower. That could be something in case it gets going. So yeah, I actually don't mind that GameStop break, but the problem is that you're breaking the highs that it's already been at. So I don't know. Double top, triple, I wouldn't short it, that's for sure. We're really starting to go now, like Apple's going, Tesla's going, and remember what we said on the SPY. We're not shorting that. All right, there it goes, man. $2 times 2. So double your pleasure, double your fun. We've got $2 winners on times 2. So let's just keep on watching it. GameStop has been a good trade for many of you. The story is definitely not even close to being done. You can wake up tomorrow and something's up another 50% or down 50%. Well, actually, the good thing about it is I don't think it'll be down 50%.
It's almost
because it holds those levels, right? If it goes down, I think 18 is probably the ultimate bottom on GameStop. But yeah,
I think his strike price is going to turn into it's like this implied level that everyone's going to be interested in, that $20 strike on the calls that I always want to say DFV, but Roaring Kitty, as everyone knows him by, Keith Gill. So I think that's going to matter. And we were just joking about this. Like, he could own over 6% of the company if he were to get those shares assigned to him. It's an incredibly big position. I would suspect that that level, if it were to go down, I just suspect that $20 is going to be a little something on the bid. It's psychological level, all that good stuff. Just very quick, I'm still in CCL, but it's about to get to $17. I said this morning, $17. That would be essentially the target. It's not the same trade that we had off the open. This was more of a, like, I got into it and I trailed out of it and I was looking for a re-entry. It didn't hold VWAP. So it bounced in here, and then I drew a trend line from the open range, not from the actual open, but if you get that open range bottom, right, like that's right in here. So I drew that trend line, said if it holds it on a dip, then I would go into the long, but it's starting to break down. So I might just punch out if it can't just, it gets wicked underneath it a couple times, but it's managed to hold the line. If it loses like 1680, then I'll just jump out of this trade. CCL having a pretty decent 2 days, along with RCL and NCLH. I mean, the cruise lines had been pretty solid the last 2 days in here. I don't think it wasn't really big news on it in either way, but pretty solid day for these guys. We're going to jump out if we lose that 60 level. And just one note, because when Adara brought up this chart to end the midday talking about Nike, I pulled out the daily chart. I think if we break, it's like 96 and a quarter. If we break 96 and a quarter, Nike looks like a pretty good long. You got that V-shaped recovery today, but look at it on the daily. Double bottom. We like stocks breaking off double bottoms. Hold a 50 period. Consolidate above the 50 period moving average. Next step would be to break out the top. If it breaks out the top, I want to be looking for longs. Like win, lose, or draw. That's the kind of setup that shows you the rounded bottom, gives you your smiley face and all that good stuff, gives you your 50-period moving average. So Nike, I wouldn't have even looked at this if Adara hadn't pulled up this V-shaped bottom. I have no idea if there's news on Nike. The cause, it doesn't really matter. We break 96 this week, and I'm going to look for the long there.
Yeah, definitely like Nike. We've been talking about that for a bit too, down at 90. But I mean, I like the breakout. It's similar to what we talked about there on Roblox with Lululemon early earnings coming. Is it tonight? Oh, I got to look to see. Tonight we have CrowdStrike definitely coming through there tonight. I'm just going to refresh here and have a quick look. I don't know if we have the board or not.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
I do have, yeah, let's just have a look to see what is tonight. All right, so, whoa, there it is. So CrowdStrike right now tonight, it's going to be the biggest one at 74 billion all the way up here. You can see an expected move of 12% there for CRWD. Join us tonight. Darren and I will be going over all of this. Bath and Body Works as well tonight, over 10% on that. Oh, no, sorry, that's before market open. That already happened. That's right, it was in our watch list. After market close, there isn't too much then, I guess. I don't know what Guidewire is, 9 billion. I probably should. All right, PVH, okay, we know a little bit about that company. And that's it. So not too much tonight. Oh, Stitch Fix. There probably are other ones that as you go down, it's like, okay, now they're just so low. But Stitch Fix is kind of interesting. We'll have a look at that one with a 20% expected move. SFix is the symbol. We'll have a quick look at that. And then we'll be joined by Brian Shannon, who will talk everything with that guy. So get ready for that. He's given us a couple good picks in the past. That is for sure, including ETHE before it blew up. This is like the week before it blew up. He gave it to us. Right now, Tesla's almost $2.50. So let's just go 1, 2, 3. Give it a little good luck, a little charm there to see if we can break through 177 off of our bottom of 174. So, I mean, we took this with everybody live. And then we were just like, come on, Tesla, come on, Tesla. But then again, it goes up to VWAP and we get the majority of it out. We still are holding a spot. I just put this stop at 176 break, but now we're really going. So this is a nice, I'm thinking 176. What about this level right here? I just want to make sure that we capture something. I mean, I know the market's going up and we said, look, we don't want to get out of anything. It's just we have Tesla and Apple right now, and they're both $2. And the thing is like the market could easily turn. But we're not afraid of that because the pedigree of this market has been Rip City into the close. So shout out to Portland, of course. 177 maybe. We should just top out on Tesla and then call that one potentially the trade of the day. I mean, this one or Apple for me. I mean, $2, $3 basically on each one. I mean, especially when we took it and we talk about. I have to speak to Adara and Sharif because I like the confident thing, but the thing is like everybody has the ability to be confident in your trades. It's just a trait that I think everybody's trying to develop, and it's not that I'm confident in my own positions. It's just when I look at a trade and I get into it, I'm here to believe that it's going to work. And so I just think that that's for everybody is to hopefully get that for me, is that when I speak about some of the trades that I have, I am putting in confidence into those positions. Do they always work? No. I mean, that's part of it. You take thousands of shots and hopefully the way I am, have to be batting more than 50%, right? So, I mean, as long as you have the trades and you really do like them, I mean, this is why we put out the sticky note to help myself manage these trades and these ideas, you know, because they're not all going to hit all the time. But like today, right now, the three main ones, we're all good. So I just got to keep that mental with it and keep explaining to everybody that, yeah, we are putting on shares here. This is a trade that I like. And let's have some confidence in it because you know what? At the end of the day, we'll get stopped out. We have our risk management. It's in place. And if it gets stopped out, it gets stopped out. It's like why you get insurance, like when you're driving your car. Like obviously you don't expect an accident to happen, but if something does happen, you know, you're covered to some extent there. So that's what a risk, that's what a stop is. It's insurance against your trade going against you. So, you know, that's what we do. We'll wait for Tesla here at 177, and if it gets back through 176, then we'll get out. So locking in a $2 winner there. That's what we're doing. So, yeah, you just have CCL on board. So
yeah, well, it's interesting because Russell just said you guys are over trading, to be completely honest. I'm in one position, and I haven't gotten into anything new. I'm looking for ideas. I'm always, it's like, what's the next trade? Like, what's the next opportunity? I mean, NVAX is making a bit of a run, so I'm looking for an opportunity in NVAX. I don't see anything incredibly obvious unless it's, you know, taking out this top. But why NVAX is interesting? Okay, high short flow, broke out on news, breaking out another level, held 17, another stair step to the upside. There might be a trade here. I'm not seeing anything I love. We're going to buy it right when it's at the inflection point at a resistance level? Probably not. I'd like to see the other dip. Show me something where I can buy a dip, maybe the 18 level, maybe VWAP, or show a consolidation up here where I can get an entry with an out, because that's what it's all about. Like, there was a question about how do you find the key levels on GameStop. I just zoom out. I don't do anything crazy. I'll look at a daily chart that has a couple moving averages on it, just the 50 and the 200. Even that doesn't necessarily matter on a GameStop. I like the 200 period and the 50 on like maybe non-meme stocks, if it's a better way to put it. But for the big levels, I just look at look at the 15-minute on GameStop. Why do I think 32 is a big level? Because when it was Dump City, look where they caught a bid. It caught a bid and then failed at 32 twice and failed it pretty to the low of the day each time. It's not just that it got to the level, it failed back into the low of the day. Got back into 32 and then sold off right back into the low of the day. So that's where I see 32 as a big level. And then the only reason I said 23 was when it was bouncing off of lows, when it bounced off $20, it rejected 23. And when it bounced off a higher low, it rejected 23 a couple of times. So, you know, that's the only level I'll look at, and that's where we try to find them. Sometimes if we're with the trend, I like VWAP for retracement, especially when it shows me a bounce, like in this situation, like it showed me a bounce. So when it pulls back in, it's like, okay, go long in VWAP because it already worked. I don't love it as much when it fails the high of the day, but it just worked again on GameStop if you happen to have it. So there's all kinds of things you can do, but I don't know. I try not to overtrade in the afternoon, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I
actually feel like I'm the opposite. I probably don't put a lot of trades on in the afternoon, to be honest with you. And the morning is when there's like lots of, because you have all those things that can go for the rest of the day, whereas in the afternoon as a day trader, you have till like 4 o'clock. So like, you might hold it for 20 minutes, a half an hour. You don't get to hold it for hours if it just continues to work for you.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. These two trades that I'm in right now are from 10 o'clock. Okay, so actually Monty G, shout out to Monty G here, because I was just going to show this. And the thing is that what Monty G said right here is if your strategy is what it is, you should be profitable no matter how much you trade. It's whatever your strategy is. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, as long as we can look down at the end of the day and be happy with the numbers that are being put up. Obviously, I'm always trying to alter the strategy to get better. But yeah, I think we've been doing that. So that's that trade. And again, I'm not rapidly trading anything right now. We are going to look for more opportunities, that is for sure. I did want to check out Rivian again. And plus someone did say it is a trading show, but that's, I'm here for the show, and the show was developed, for various reasons. We've talked about that numerous times. But at the same time, I'm trying to make money. So, and hopefully we'll be entertaining to you guys as well. This Rivian bottom here at 11.15, liked that stop. I'm not in it, but I think that's a good stop if you do get into Rivian. Right now into the afternoon, I'm not sure there's going to be too much there. I think the important thing when you're trading the afternoon is trading names that are actually moving around today. And so we're going to have to find that. I did want to check the health of DraftKings because there's been a name that I feel like I want to buy on dips for sure. Like it's going to be one of those names. I'm going to talk to Brian about this one today too, because I think there's been some destruction in the name. But then we have a great gap here that tried to get filled and did get filled right there. Whether or not it got filled to the exact dollar, I don't know, 32 to 31.50 or so. This little gap right here got filled, and then the backfill, and then boom, right back up there to all-time highs again. Well, I guess this chart's obviously not loading. I don't think this is all-time highs for DraftKings, but anyways, recent highs up there at $50, and then came right back in again. So you're kind of filling that same gap again, bringing it back to $32, $33. And if I like to spot, gambling is not profitable for the customer. And when you're a customer that keeps depositing money into a losing venture, it's a good business to be running. So I like this right here for DraftKings, and I like the spot. I think people enjoy watching sports more when they gamble. It's really taken off. You could just see when you watch golf or any of the auto racing or anything like that. When you watch ESPN SportsCenter or TSN here in Canada, it's like they'll literally talk about the NBA championship and then go right over and talk about what the game one odds are, or what the series prices are, or who's the MVP odds, or what this and that and this and that. And it's like they're not even analyzing the game anymore. It's just like, wow, this is what they think is going to happen. There are some real ones. You're going to get like inside the NBA.
Have you seen like the stream when the streamers have games on? Like I just saw Apple Baseball when they have like the
oh yeah, that's so cool.
All they show you is like
percentages of getting on
it's
base.
Like hit probability, RBI probability, like home run probability. They're not doing that for stat heads and baseball nerds.
Right.
They're doing that for the gamblers. Like I find it interesting because I kind of like I dig the stats, but they're doing that for the gamblers and they know what's up. The downside, of course, is I only chuckle at this because they have all of this push for sports gambling in every single sports. Like it's like all ads are everywhere, and so when the athletes do it, they get punked.
Well, yeah, because they affect the.
So Otani obviously got off because his interpreter did it, but there's
no, because he's worth $700 million.
But there's a low level, and this is sad, but there's like a lower level prospect on the Pirates who today got a lifetime ban for betting on his own team in baseball. He bet hundreds and hundreds of times. He won, this is what they say.
He should be banned.
He won 4.3% of his bets, and he was betting on his own team and lost his career. You know what the minimum salary is? Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That guy should be banned for life.
Of course, but obviously he bet on his own team.
Right.
It's like it's ridiculous.
Like it's just one of those things.
It's
like for the whole Pete Rose thing, I think he did get banned. I'm just saying I think that he should be in the Hall of Fame for the accomplishment because it wasn't PEDs or anything like that.
Just put on the plaque, banned because he was on Hall of Fame.
Barry Bonds hit this much because the guy was juiced.
Just put it in. It's the truth.
When your neck grows 5 times,
I've been there. It's a museum. Like a museum should just tell the truth. I'm going to try not to rant about
like the Royal Ontario Museum. Got those dinosaur bones up in there.
Don't tell me. Don't
like that.
Exactly the truth.
Yeah, I don't know. Dinosaurs, yeah. I believe in what? They actually existed. It's not aliens we're talking about.
I couldn't.
I would love in our lifetime to see
aliens,
something land on Earth that is not of human.
No. You don't want that.
I know. I don't really want that. I know. Because what does that mean? What does that mean for religion? What does that mean for everything?
You don't want that.
But I just think like that would be wild. That would be the most wild thing. No one would believe it though because of AI.
If you can interstellar travel, we ain't ready for you. Straight up.
We just got out of Tesla, by the way, for, oh, shit.
Don't want any of that.
There it is right there. Let's hit the floss out right there.
Tesla.
There goes Tesla, man. We just take $3 on that trade. I mean, now we are out of it. We will end the day there with the Tesla trade. I like. I mean, buy the bottom of the day right here, sell the top. Like that is just lucky. It's like we just held it. I mean, we could have easily got out at 176.50, pretending like that was the top. But again, this is where we talk about experience. We talk about OB graduating and so on and so forth. It's like we've seen it when we talked about the spiders on the rundown. It's like we got run over. Well, we didn't get run over. Yesterday, TQs was fine. We kept getting out. But at the end of the day, it ripped up higher. And I was just fighting the short all afternoon. I mean, we could even call it up yesterday on the TQQ. We actually traded it good because we were able to get out when it dipped in. Let me go to yesterday before. I know we have Frank coming up soon. But there it is right here, you see? So it just happened right at the end of the day. But you see how it's like if you're short, you're fighting it, then you're picking this level, and then you're eventually picking that level, and then it's all the way out. So it's like a pretty nice trend, let alone what happened on Friday afternoon, straight to the upside yesterday afternoon. And then look, you know, I mean, at some point, like, you got to be able to say the trend is or is not your friend. And I mean, in the afternoon, the trend's definitely been higher.
It's only up.
And it's because, you know what, the Fed, any kind of Fed speak that we're waiting for, anything like that, once they're done, the market just starts marching again. It's like earnings were good. You know, earnings were fine. Macro, I mean, we're going to get Frank in a minute, so I mean, there's no better to talk to about it. But at the end of the day, if we're projecting one rate cut and we already know about it, and the market is still at, is a stone's throw from all-time high. Plus, you now get energy pulling back a little bit, which will help some of these companies. The US dollar getting weaker, which makes US equities look more attractive to foreign investment because now their dollar's worth more investing into US companies. It helps out US technology companies as well that repatriate the money back through as well. So, hey, look, I mean, there's lots of stuff happening in this world. We have an election cycle coming through. So I just like, the market likes all of it. And to be quite frank, Caberna, with you, you know, you just need to, yeah, I mean, that was all right, but no, I just think the trend at some point
we haven't used
is hard to ignore. And it's just, there's been good dip buy opportunities. And if you've been sitting on the sideline, then, you know, you've definitely seen those. I mean, check out NVIDIA. I mean, that just keeps on going higher and higher.
You sell that at your chagrin. Apparently, Holo's making a move. And 4 to 12 is, oh goodness. Yeah, we'll get there in a second. I'm on the bit of NVAX as it's consolidating higher, but there was a question about Holo. Like, will it start to squeeze if it breaks $2? So my usual definition for like, will a stock squeeze if, would be, okay, well, what's it breaking here? Like, if you imagine yourself to be short this stock, like pretend that you're a hedge fund and you're short this on any kind of a pop, or maybe you're short this when it went $3 to $4. What is $2 doing to you? Not much. $2.50, sure. You know, breakout above like $2.50, that makes some sense. Above like $3. It doesn't mean it's not going to move if it breaks $2. I'm not saying that at all. It's just for myself. It's more interesting if you break at $2.50. Every single time the stock is popped, like look at what keeps happening to it. It's just rejection after rejection. So when it sustains more than a couple of days, I think that's a little bit better. I just got into NVAX, and the timing for entering any kind of long might be good because it's Frank time. So to be frank with you, we're about to get some knowledge dropped on us. Let's go to the desk.
Hey, there he is. Yeah, Frank Cappelleri back with us. We have a busy week, not only this week, but coming up next week as well for U.S. data going to be capped off this week. First off, Frank, with non-farm payrolls coming up on Friday. For those that, we touched on this a little bit on the show yesterday, but for those that might have not been with us, Bank of Canada tomorrow, we get the ECB coming up then the very next morning. Both are expected to cut rates going into this non-farm payrolls print at the end of the week, CPI on Monday. And this all is preceded by 4 days in a row here of interest rates just falling off a cliff. What gives here?
Unbelievable price action here in rates. I mean, yeah, such a jam-packed schedule. But that being said, the last couple of weeks have been more or less boring data-wise. And amid that boredom, rates climbed pretty significantly. I mean, 10 years, 2 years across the yield curve, they got back to those year-to-date highs 10-years got back above 4.6%, but for all of a day. And the 2-year got back to close to 5%. And yeah, getting absolutely slammed here the last couple of days amid a lower than expected PMI here in the US, a lower than expected job openings number, as the JOLTS number continues to be just as or more important than non-farms in the last handful of months. I don't know if that's always been the case, but it feels like this JOLTS number has been so huge recently. And so, yeah, that data coming in under expectations, and the guys were just making great points. You guys don't even need to have me on the show anymore. You're seeing US dollar get crushed. You're seeing rates get crushed here. All, Brendan, heading into any of these central bank meetings, you would have imagined there would have been a quiet period, no action whatsoever. But yeah, rates are getting hit pretty good. And at this clip here, we still have the next week and a half are really going to be some of the most interesting trading days that we've had in the last several months, and they'll maybe be some of the most interesting trading days for until July, August, as it's a really hot schedule here to start June. But yeah, at this rate, you could see this 10-year get back down below 4% like it did at the end of 2023, given that, yeah, we climbed from 4.4 to 4.6, and now we're just dropping out of the sky below 4.4% now in a matter of 3 or 4 trading days. And like I say, if the central banks meeting tomorrow and Thursday, they come in dovish with the rate cuts that are expected, and potentially some language to future cuts and fear of the job market and economy over in Canada and in the Euro area. And then we get a non-farm number that's soft. And then we have CPI data and FOMC next week. You're going to see huge swings in these markets, especially if they all lean in one direction, as the data has been leaning in the last 2 to 3 trading days here. It's been all headed in the rate cut direction, which is crazy because, yeah, I jumped on here a week or two ago and they got back to almost pricing out all the cuts here for 2024, right back to 2 cuts here. And just as the guys were remarking, stock market climbing back close to its all-time highs.
Yeah, you mentioned there briefly, I wanted to go back to this because it's worth noting that chart there showing like that's a huge drop off here on job openings. Let's remember what this data actually is that we got this morning. You know, companies going out actively posting, we are hiring new people. That's a huge drop off. And as you put there, lowest since February 21.
Huge miss. Can't be overstated there. Since, yeah, early part of 2021 there. And I mean, you think about the fact that what was going on then, that was really when inflation was just starting to get cooking. And so if we're getting back into that pre-inflation run-up type of data point here, that could be, you know, a signal that would be further compounded by a miss on the non-farm on Friday as well. That could really signal some danger here for the Fed, and maybe a reason to, instead of only cutting once this year, maybe cut 2 or 3 times, even though they only have a handful of meetings and the market has priced out any chance of a cut from the Fed this week. But yeah, the data is pointing all in that direction. We'll see if it continues that way with the non-farm on Friday. But I'm very, very interested to see whether or not the major central banks in Canada and the Euro area do actually come through with these cuts. It feels like we've been talking about this because we have since really October of last year, Brendan. That was when they finally came through. The market and the central bankers finally, everybody came out together with the idea of, okay, cuts are coming relative to any more hikes coming here. But we just haven't seen any from major central banks. And so if both those central banks come through with the cuts and the data continues to underperform, we get a non-farm number that's under, we get a CPI next week that's under I don't think the Fed will necessarily cut next week, obviously, but maybe they do price in a chance of a cut at the next meeting, or they really fill out that distribution for a September cut, because I'm sure you've been watching this, but for those who haven't, the September distribution now is really focused around either 25 basis points or 50 basis points lower than we are. This was 50-50 on a cut or no cut just a week ago, and now only about a 30% chance of no cut by September, which is to say, and these things all move in synergy, right? That distribution is taken from interest rate markets, and interest rates are getting crushed. And so obviously they're pricing in more cuts, but we'll see. You could see a really big continuation of this trend depending on what we hear in the next couple of days and the data that comes out in the next week. Or it could be another reversal, because you take a look at that 10-year yield chart, and we've bounced around. We've had these 2-week stretches of, oh, more cuts are coming, 2-week stretches of, oh, no cuts are coming. We've done that 2 or 3 times here in 2024. So we'll see if that continues moving lower, projecting more cuts. Seems like the stock market would like that. At least they're liking it right now as the market's bounced back since some of the selling pressure from last week. But yeah, man, so much stuff going on, so much interesting data here in the U.S. But yeah, what's your take on the ground there in Canada going into the Bank of Canada meeting?
Yeah, I mean, we've been sitting here, I was going to mention, like, we've been sitting here painting this picture for the past few weeks or months, at least, it feels like. On that, you know, the Fed has been saying, we need more data, we need more data, we need more data, we need more data. Here's all the data. You know, what's left to do? I mean, you had that chart of where the Bank of Canada is currently on rates, still sitting here at 5%, where we've been, you know, for going back to the middle of 2023. And yeah, I mean, there's been data, as we've highlighted on this show over the past couple of weeks in this country, that has suggested it is time. Our economy is not doing well. The GDP was down, the producer price was down across the board. Everyone at large saying this is going to be the one coming up tomorrow morning. And I mean, you and I were talking going back a month or so ago on who was going to blink first, and it looks like it might be Europe and Canada, as we suspected.
But of course, you know, that's a huge, the ECB and the Bank of Canada, huge central banks. And so it really, to me, would be an indicator that everybody is cutting, if not this month, maybe at the next meeting, and almost definitely by September rolling around. And so it doesn't seem one-off, especially given the data that we've been getting here in the US the last couple of days. But it'll be really interesting to see this non-farm on Friday, Brendan, because remember, just to level set a little bit here, huge, strong numbers to start 2024 in here. And that's why 10 years climbed to recent highs, 2-year yields climbed, every interest rate market climbed to start the year here, and they priced out those, I'll always remember this for 2024, 6 to 7 cuts. They priced it all the way out to maybe 1 or 2 on that strong data. If we get another number that's under 200, if we get another number that's a miss to the downside and under potentially last month's 175, the expectation here is 190. So a little bit of expectation for a bounce back. If this number comes in under 190, and if it comes in under 175, I think you'll see interest markets continue to get hammered as they potentially move up that SEP hike to the next Fed meeting here in about a month and a half from now. And so that non-farm is going to be really interesting because I've talked about this before. So sorry if you've heard this line of reasoning, but I'm going to repeat it again. The Fed has been leaning up against that employment number and GDP until recently. GDP growth in the US is now down to under 2%, which is, you know, it's not awful, but it's not the 4 or 5% prints we were getting a year or two ago. GDP numbers underperforming, employment numbers underperforming. That might force the Fed to be okay with a 2.5% inflation rate as opposed to that 2%. You and I have been talking about they can be picky about that inflation rate as long as GDP and employment are doing well. But similar to the case that you put out there for Canada, economic data moving in the wrong direction now might force the Fed's hand to cut at least a little bit, or maybe sooner than currently projected, to make sure that that data doesn't dip into crash mode or economic crisis mode in future months. Because we always talk about this, it's backward-looking data, and so if employment data is just trending lower, but not necessarily in a crash mode, or in GDP data, for example, is trending lower, but it's still positive. And so everything's good. They want to head that off before that trend does get to negative. And so, yeah, if the employment data comes in under expectations again, they might price in another one of these cuts from the Fed in 2024, where right now they're really only pricing in one or two. They could get back to that 2 or 3 range. And then, of course, if CPI comes out next week under expectations, then you might have the perfect case scenario for more cuts, lower interest rates. But yeah, it'll be the stock market. I can't get a read one way or the other, because you see some of this data come out, Brendan, weak, pointing to more interest rate cuts, and the stock market kind of traded both sides of that kind of data. A little bit of uneasiness even as rate cuts get priced in, but then you have today where rate cuts are getting priced in. Now the stock market's bouncing back. So really indecisive stock market, even though we know if the data does continue to trend lower, US rates, US dollar will likely get hit, but that stock market's trading both sides for sure.
Yeah, this is an event that doesn't come around all that often, and I'm referring to a cycle change. The cycle of interest rates going up versus down. In your experience in the past, where's the trade, I guess, for someone who's looking at a more macro approach, longer term macro approach? This is the event. Potentially, this is the event that's right around the corner. What do we look at as far as a trade?
Sure. This is one where I definitely don't go to the primary first tier mover. And what I mean by that is we're talking about a shift in what? Interest rates. And so if the shift is on and the ECB and the Bank of Canada cut, and the data is pointing lower in the US and they're pricing in more cuts, and then the Fed does come out and cut either at the next meeting or September, I'm not trying to step in front of an interest rate market that went from 0 to above 5% with very little back and forth on that route over the last 2 to 3 years, and now up at 5% and potentially going down to more normal 2 to 3%. Those fundamental shifts, to your point, tend to really play out in a singular direction. So if you're a trend follower, maybe there's a follow the trend trade in rates. What I really do love about these trend shifts for interest rate markets, for like you say, economic cycles, Brendan, is I truly believe that for markets like equities and for markets like Forex, where it's a little bit nuanced what the actual effect is of these things. Because you and I talk about it all the time. Oh, of course, in a vacuum, companies would love lower interest rates. How are they going to get lower interest rates? From economic turmoil. And so what causes economic turmoil? Well, the stocks are probably not doing well in that environment. And so it's one of those things that you can't say interest rates lower and stocks definitely higher, or vice versa. And so I love trading the back and forth in equities and foreign exchange currency markets amid these shifts, because you'll see huge swings one way or the other. But when the dust settles, maybe not so much has changed for NVIDIA and Apple and Microsoft, who take such huge chunks out of the S&P and NASDAQ these days. And same thing for Forex. It might be the ECB comes out and cuts rates on Thursday, they hammer euros, but then, the non-farm number is weaker than expected. And everyone's like, oh, well, the Fed is definitely going to cut as well. oh, well, then nothing has changed. They both cut 25 basis points, and then the US dollar gets hit. And so good back and forth for what I would call those second and third tier movers, like your stocks, like your Forex, or even on into, I know gold is really, really historically high priced right now. So uh, say what you will about that environment. But yeah, even commodity markets, I prefer to take a look at both sides of those trades and essentially look at fading the initial knee-jerk reaction for a more nuanced market like that, where interest rates moving one direction. What does it technically mean for companies or currencies if we're all moving in the same direction globally? So it'll be really interesting to see. But yeah, this interest rate market, it can be a freight train in one direction when they do shift, like they're potentially doing in the next couple of days for you guys in Canada.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, great insight as always. We'll look forward to Thursday when we touch base again, when, Frank, we could have not one, but actually two interest rates cuts that have occurred in that time span. So lots to talk about and look forward to. Great to see you as always. We'll touch base on Thursday.
Thanks, Brendan.
Thank you as always, Frank. It was interesting. Like there was a bit of a pump, little tiny bit toward the high of the day, and now it's a little bit of a reversal. So I like to short a weak name. That's why I'm in Intel, but I reversed out of CCL when it broke the trend. That's the only reason I'm going to get out of VWAP. But I had the trend line drawn, so when we got out, we also quickly reversed when it broke that trend, and if it gets to VWAP, it gets to VWAP. But the NASDAQ has just come right back in. Still green on the day, but it just got to 18.75 and then did a little dipsy-do. That is yesterday's high of the day as well, Sean. That's why you like that. I'm assuming NASDAQ and the ES both making the same move. Something on yelling there.
Okay. Shout out to Sebastian and everybody there in the chat. I mean, we have this on board right now. Where's my guy Jarhead? He wants some of this. You know, in case you're just, if you're just joining us right now, get a little bit. Wow. Okay, TQQs. As if we're doing this damage right now on this name right here. This will go to P&L number 2, maybe on the show today. Nice move here as we go to the downside right now for the TQQs. I mean, this is what it's about. We said, how can we hold these things a little bit more? Well, it's a lot easier when you got the top and the thing just crashes in. So there it comes right now. It is your trade. I was saying, like, I don't know what's going to be the trade of the day. Was it this Tesla trade right there that just was down at the bottom, then all the way up? Or did we just short the top of the market right here? And you guys want to talk about something. This is now 100 handles in the money right now to the downside. So there we go, man. What's up, Jarhead? What's up to everybody else that's here right now? Thank you, Ike Anderson. Thank you to everybody that's watching again. I mean, this is real trading. You guys want to trade futures? There you go. You know, we've got Apple, Tesla, Micron, Google futures trading right there. Not only that, but we also talked about the SPY earlier today. Almost threw up in my mouth. This is such a good trade here coming down in. All right, so 63.15. Let's put another bid right there. I mean, Neil, when you got it, you got it. And this TQQ right now, we got it.
Yeah, great trade. You got that 1% mover in there for sure. And look at the timing of it was interesting because I was already in Intel at that moment, and then I looked over, I'm like, oh, the NASDAQ's at the high, and the NASDAQ started pulling back, and I was already on the bid, because this was actually trending a little bit higher. And it was right at this moment, I'm like, oh, I should cancel these, fill. Like I'm like in the thought process of I should cancel these and move them back to VWAP when it already filled. I also had the bid at VWAP. We just tagged 30. I'm going to bid 30 even. I'm not going long at that price, but 30 is the bottom on this stock. So this is what it's all about. Like the good thing about trading is you get a day like yesterday, a little frustrating. You're able to make it back and then some today easily because the market is constantly giving you ideas and giving you opportunities. NVIDIA was absolutely carrying things, not on Blue Ocean, on the NASDAQ. And then all-time high, everything's an all-time high at NVIDIA. So it was at a fresh all-time high, wicked 1165. Obviously, if this is going to pull back, the market's going to pull back, but it's still green and it's still in an upward trend. So I don't think it's an abject disaster for Power Hour if this holds on to 1150 or 1155. If you zoom it out on NVIDIA, you're basically pulling back into last week's top, which is like 1155 in here. So it's still firmly in the upward trend. I'd say the weaker name is AMD. Obviously, Intel's down on the day, but AMD is breaking lows as we speak. What an absolute difference between these two. Like, look at AMD here. This is just absolutely insane. Like, the market's pulling back into support. AMD is breaking the low of the day. That's what we mean by relative strength and relative weakness. I came over to this one a little bit too late. I had Intel up. That's the one. Again, you're going to trade the one that you have up and the one that you're looking at. So unfortunately, it was not AMD, which is now cratering into the downside. Yuck, yuck, yuck. There's something
Did it
broken.
break 160?
Oh yeah. There's something broken.
Oh, that's easy short.
Yeah, there's something broken with AMD. It's got 158 on the daily
shit.
here. And then as I said, the 200 period moving average, that's 140 bucks. I'm looking bid there on the long term. I think that's a reasonable place. It's already support. I think you can get there. The way AMD is trading, it really does feel like it wants that 140 at some point, and at some point soon as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're going to get a dollar club on that one for sure. But like I said, we're happy because we shorted TQs. But again, we had mentioned that we would short AMD, and I just completely did not put that stop in there. That would have been another monster trade. If we had that one, then it would have been ridiculous. Remember we said let's wait for it to break 160, then possibly play that as the short resistance. So if you are short on AMD right now, I would just hold it back until 160. I mean, I would be... this is not financial advice. I would be getting some out. You guys obviously know that. I mean, just because we have a dollar winner on the TQs and this puts it up there. I mean, we could talk about it. PL1 is Apple, PL2 is TQQs right there. Well, Micron is a monster too, but, and then Tesla. I don't know. We had Google L right there, which is crazy. We L'd that right before this, but here comes Google right back in again. I was still waiting. I still have offers on Google. They just didn't fill. They were at 173.60 right up here at the high to try to get some more shares there, but we don't. We missed that one there. So there it is. Let's go on. Congratulations. Hot dog cannon for you, Sebastian. You wanted it. This is for you and Kyle. So there it is. You guys want the hot dog candy. You get it right there. So it's a good little trading there for everybody. There's Sebastian. You got it, man. All right. So Google to the downside as well. I mean, here we go. These futures are really coming back in. It looks like our out on Tesla. Remember, I was like, oh, no. But that's a good out. That out now saving me $1.50 right there. So we still have such a small piece of Apple, but it's coming back in as well. Thinking about buying some of these dips now. It's a nice retracement back on these futures. Why don't we just cover and then we'll figure it out from here. So it looks like it's starting to bounce off of VWAP. We could possibly think about going long pretty soon. I might just go over to Apple and take that one first and then see what happens with these futures. But we're almost out. We only have 15% left of our futures trade, and I think it's about time we average back into Apple down here at 194. This was a good level. That little drop zone there is 193.70. I think it's worth trying this here, Apple long.
Yeah, so there's this there's a halt on this DHAC. I'm going to immediately declare no-fly zone for myself, and everyone can do their own thing. The stock has only traded 190,000 shares worth of volume. It's at $33. It was $16, so it's a double up essentially from the open. But just keep in mind, if it's doing less than 1 million shares, as a day trader, no. It's already halted umpteen times today, but the current tap is flat. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm looking for exit stage left at $30, and I might just get out right here on Intel. It bottomed at 30. We were long 30 on Intel because, to be honest with you, because it was a round number and it bounced off of 30. Like there was literally nothing other than do with the fact there was some size in the bid at 30. It bounced off and then we went long into VWAP. So with that same logic, if this move is just pulling back into the NASDAQ being flat, then I'm going to try to get out right here off of this low and we'll just take it and run. The market ended up pulling back when this happened to be at a resistance level. It's like I take that trade anyways, but the market decided it wanted to pull back, which if you're a weak stock, you're going to fall to the low of the day in that situation. AMD might be worth a short the pop if there can even be one at this point. It's still holding underneath 160, so I'd like to see if it can bounce up here, maybe give you something in that 60 range. But we're out of Intel. CCL will hold until VWAP. That's a bit of a reverse, but you're still falling on AMD. This doesn't want any part of a bounce. There isn't even a green candle since like right in here, but even that, like that's barely even a green candle going back to like 240 on a 3-minute chart. So it's looking pretty nasty here for AMD. Naresh, we'll look at Shop. I'm assuming, you know what? Shop holding above $60. So anything that's holding a breakout price when the market's pulling back, I think shop looks pretty good for a consolidation long. We've been looking at this one for a while. It's like six or seven up days in a row, finally breaking out that top. And when the market goes down, which it seemingly is right now, shop is holding that breakout price. So the 60 looks pretty darn good here for shop.
So just to talk a little bit about this, my stop on this TQQ trade was 64.15, the high of the day. So it's almost 7-to-1 risk to reward in about 7 or 8 minutes. This Apple trade, I mean, if we can rewind to the tape, I don't know if you guys could probably do it there on YouTube. I said, let's go long Apple down here at 194. So there it is right there, 194.23. It's another 20 cents or so plus in the money as we'll start to take some more out here as we're doing it again. There's the long on Apple. Again, we brought it back right into these levels again. So take it back as it goes into VWAP right there, and then just put another one on the board. Honestly, there's another hot dog cannon for anyone right there who's coming in. And if you don't put trades on, you don't win. You also don't lose. But that's why you got to have your plan of action and figure out what the hell you're doing. And then this one right there, boom. I mean, that's a decent little opportunity right there. We did talk about it and we did cover and we told you that we only had 15% left of this at the bottom there. So comes into VWAP, we hit it, and now we just basically doubling our pleasure, doubling our fun by going long on Apple again right down here right now. We already said it was PL1. Now it still is as we go back up to the upside right now and still going. So there's Apple, there's the TQQs. So it's trading Apple, it's trading the futures. So far, so good. Yeah, if you guys went long on anything there, I just think this is what trading is. You know, you make your calls, you make your decisions, and at the end of the day, you know, we're here to sort of show you trading opportunities because we've already talked about how hard it is to trade, let alone trade alone. And that was the whole point of where this show started from, right?
So Yellen was apparently making some comments here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Did Yellen also see us buy Apple here, which made it go right back up? I mean, I don't.
I'm just still with people in the chat asking.
Yeah, yeah.
Why did the market tank like that? I'm not here to tell you that when someone says something, it moves the market. But, you know, Yellen was speaking as we turn around and comments along the lines of the Treasury never tries to time the market in debt management. The issuance of T-bills is in line with historical averages or whatever. Like she's been making some comments in there. Maybe it's one of those. Sometimes you'll get a move like that where you were rolling over and then something just tips the cart. Like you're at resistance anyways, and then you get like a comment like that, a few stocks reverse at the same time, the Qs are at the high of the day, and it's just like confluence, and then just one little thing tips the cart. It's not to say that news is always going to move it or that every move has to have a reason behind it. I think a lot of times talking heads will try to explain that away. I think you got to a technical level and you needed something to push you over, and sometimes it's just as simple as that.
This move started about 15 minutes before that Yellen news. So, yeah, not everything Rivian Millionaire turns to gold over here, but this is why you guys can see what's going on, and that's why, you know, I don't have a problem telling you this is P&L number one on the show all day. This is P&L number one loser, because I want you guys to know that when we're putting on shares and we're putting on risk, when you know that's in there for me. So that's what we're doing, and you know, again, if Sharif has a big trade or anything like that, they'll let you know as well, and that is what it is. So right here we go. Apple 194.02. So we've gone out of half of this trade already. Honestly, I still think the market heads a little bit lower right now. I'm not completely in love with this trade, but at the same time, we do understand that trading is a love-hate relationship. So some trades I'll really like and some trades I won't. And this one right here on the dip in for the afternoon, I still think we're holding some decent highs right now after bouncing off VWAP. But that high, I'm not sure we'll ever get back to there today. Neil mentioned it before when someone asked me why did we short the Qs. Again, I was just seeing some resistance up there, and all I am is a support and resistance trader. That's it. And hopefully, you know, someone that you guys like to follow and understand a bit. That's yesterday's high, was right there, 164.13. I said that's where my stop was. So, I mean, it was literally a break, probably 15 break right there upside. So that's yesterday's high. Plus, we had gotten going there. We had sort of stopped a little bit, you know. It's just that you could have shorted here as well and lost. I don't know if I would have gotten out yet. I think we still would have won. But the fact that we basically have the high is kind of just a fluke. We waited for it to come back in a little bit, break a little bit lower, then we just went short. So again, you know, it does take a little bit of, as we say, gumption in the market to be able to to hit it, but you got to get lucky too, right? So that was a good one there, and we'll you know, we won't belittle the trade, but good trade. Well, I mean, how can we? But good trade there. We are going to get out of some more Apple. We just did right there at VWAP at 25. So just want to bring that to everybody's attention. And now we're getting lighter and lighter. Now we only have 35% left of this Apple trade. And again, a break back below 194, and we'll deal with it then. But so far, no more averaging into this trade. If it comes lower, I think we want to look at like 193.75 maybe as a spot to get out. But I mean, we could still see lower lows if the NASDAQ breaks here, because Apple is not necessarily strong. I mean, that's a good move down. I'm assuming that the one short that we had marked down today, Google, it's actually not even moving as much as Apple did. I mean, that's not even that much of a move there for Google. So
both Google and Microsoft are disappointing movers lately. I think it's like they're both like, you know, it goes in waves, man. Like some days Meta's like the one that's going, some days Tesla's the one that's going. You just got to be on the right trend. Like we'll go weeks without trading Microsoft. I did one trade on Google and I hated it. And I look back in hindsight, and so I was just gonna. There's a couple of people talking about this S-win in the chat. I pulled it up, and I'm like, we'll always look at things that are moving, but that S-win, Solon Holdings, it's up 11%. Volume's pretty light. I just don't really see anything there. 1 million in vol, and you can see it's not doing a ton of movement. I can stare at the level 2, and I haven't seen a non-D print over 100 shares in the last minute or so. It's just not a heck of a lot going on there. And so the reason why I don't like the traded VWAP is because I was sitting on the offer, and then they get a big move up. Usually, if it consolidates here and busts up, I'm not taking that fill through. Like usually, I'm waiting for it to make a move back down and then shorting it, and then let it get to the next level. When it broke back under 173, like that's a momentum short, or when it gets up here to that double top, like that's a better area. But I was just sitting on the offer when that came on through. I am out of intel. I'm kind of looking at this 30 level for maybe one more shot at the long. It's already bounced once, and the market's trying to catch a bit of a bid. If I can get 4s again, or like 3s or 4s, I think I'll take a shot at intel back down at this level. It's been not just good. Today it's bounced off 30. It's been bouncing off 30 on the daily chart as well. So a lot of respect for the stock at this one. In the long term, I'm not touching this thing again until it gets to 25s, or we get a couple of quarters. Maybe the end of the year, I could be convinced if they have a good quarter next quarter, maybe that I'd pick some more up. But they haven't put a quarter in that I would deem to be, I like what they're doing and I like the turnaround. And everything they do just seems to be like a little bit late. Like you get AMD and NVIDIA announcing chips, and then they announce theirs like 2 days later. And their report is always just a little bit worse than AMD's. Their margins are never going in the right direction. You just want to hear something good, and then I think you can get out of the penalty box. The trend is your friend. It's not a good-looking chart. Oh, Shopify. I knew something.
Look, I mean, we could sit here, we could talk about over trading. We had that comment before, and then since then, we've just doubled our day. So, I mean, it is one of those things where you got to wait for the best opportunities. And like I'm literally telling you guys, like this move there on the TQs, and then this move here on Apple. So, I mean, let's get another piece out right now. I don't know. We'll see if we can get a 40 or something like that out. If it does rip through it, there it goes. So that's another load out there as we'll ride the bull back on Apple. And we were just sitting here talking about this trade, and then the trade came in for us down to 194. And again, it's about knowing what stock you want to trade. We knew we wanted Apple long, right? And so what I do is like, if the market were to rip right now, I would just go over to Google. And that's why I keep checking it to short it, right? We know we like the Amazon long. We know we like Google short, Apple long. We know we like the GME level, and we know we like Tesla long. So far today, the only 3, 4, or 5 names we've traded are all on here. And then we somehow were able to absolutely trade Micron, one of the best stocks for me today, Micron there. So, Jared, do you want me to look at MLGO? Ryan, I'll do it. This is, I know these guys were talking about it earlier. All right, MLGO. So let's have a quick look on this one. Again, we talked about sort of that short float earlier and what can cause these things. I know, Jarhead, this is something that you like to trade for sure. I mean, if you're playing momentum, then there's really only one way to go, and I think that you want to break this top again at 11.1102. I mean, bouncing off the 200 period, holding VWAP. Like, if this was a stock, yeah. I mean, you want to play dip buy opportunities because every single time it's mattered. So here's a huge move back to VWAP. That makes perfect sense. It hits the 200 period. Then it dances around the 200, retests VWAP, perfect. Hits VWAP, then goes through 200, now is using the 200 as support. Yeah, so there it is. Go for it right there for sure. We're $1 in the money here. We're 40 cents in the money here, and just looking to put on a little bit more risk somewhere if we can see it. I mean, that Tesla trade, we've already, okay. I'm not super positive on the market being up from here. Like, we're below that 18.7 now. I'd rather be short. But this Tesla level right there, that's why I was like, hey, we should be short. I mean, did AMD, we said we should be short 160. So that would still be working fine. So that's a trade that I missed 100%. At least we talked about it, so hopefully you have it on if you don't have the futures trade on. But right here, I like Tesla, but I'm gonna leave it alone. It's gonna have to either get to my level or no trade. It's 320 right now. So we're doing well here today. So let's just stick with what we're doing. I mean, look at this, guys. Again, some traders might do nothing. We had that overtrade thing. We have one position here. Neil's got that short on right now.
I'm out of Intel. I'm all out.
Okay, that's fine.
TCL is like a
different trade. So
different trade.
what I'm getting at here is, like, we just put on, again, so out of this trade right now, from here, that was so good, we just added 30% more to our net right there with this Apple trade. So that's a good one, bouncing off that 194. Let's take another piece out right there and now get it out at 48. We actually just punch down a little bit and get some out right there. So this is what it's all about. Put on the risk, put on the trades, put them on in the right spot, and hopefully it'll be all good right there, whatever makes you money. Let's see what happens with the TQs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, whatever makes you money, just, have that idea when you're going in. Where am I getting in? Where's my out? Risk to reward, all that kind of good stuff. Like, I look at, like, there's so many stocks that are actually moving. Like, someone just mentioned Affirm. Affirm's at $30. Yeah, Affirm's at $30, but I don't have a trade that makes any sense off $30. Short it here when it's one of the stronger names. Like, this is actually still, like, it's trying to break it out as the market's at the bottom. So, don't really see anything obvious here. It looks like it's kind of failing a little bit. I just go back over to something like an AMD. Like, if it's so weak, like, it might give a chance before 350 to pull back into 160, and, like, maybe you can reverse off of this previous support level. Like, that's a trade I don't mind. It hasn't gotten to 158 yet, so maybe there's a little short the pop situation on AMD that might work. It's definitely moving. Okay, general week. Like, CrowdStrike, we know they report aftermarket. You can put the symbol in once, and we're looking around. It's all good. Like, we'll catch you in the chat. Check out the aftermarket show tonight. Is basically, it's going to be fantastic because there's a lot of good trades to go over. It's not a ton of earnings. We'll get the board up later, but CrowdStrike leads.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Like, it's not, like, believe me, you're going to hear all about CrowdStrike after earnings because they are the big one. No questions about it. It has not looked really good for them here, and it's actually breaking the lows. That said, I think this group, everybody if you invest in any of these, if you got like a Palo Alto, Zscaler, CrowdStrike, that the valuations are pretty high. And so some of this has been kind of baked in that you'd have a pullback. And I think on any pullback, I know Palo Alto, I'm looking for another dip opportunity to buy, maybe not at the same level as before, but there's a lot of room for this to pull back in without actually breaking a long-term trend in CrowdStrike. And it's already dipped $50 going into earnings in 1 week. So it's pulled back like 15% in a single week and supports all the way at 280. I don't know what the implied volatility is, but if it happens to be anything that bounces you off the 280 level, then I think I'd be looking for some buys down there. And goodness, if it hits the 200 period, that'd be even juicier. I'm not expecting that necessarily, though.
No, CrowdStrike's expected to move 12%.
Well, so from here, actually, that's right about, yeah, that could get there. That's right almost in that 260 range on the 200 period moving average. So you might get a chance at that 200 period moving average today. We always like that. Coincidentally, Palo Alto bounced off 260 after earnings last earnings season and that same level. Doesn't mean it's any good the next time Palo Alto gets there. It's just an interesting coincidence. But that was an easy bounce trade that multiple people were involved here. There's your 260 bounce. On PanW, still holding that level. Like, how good is that? It holds it once on earnings. It holds it twice again. You're still riding the trend. Obviously, it's going to probably follow what's going on with CrowdStrike. So you might get another dip if CrowdStrike comes in. You might see 260 again tomorrow for a trade.
Yeah, wait for it. I mean, CrowdStrike, you never want to really jump into something too much before earnings, but everyone we talk to likes the space and likes the stock. So I do like CrowdStrike for sure. All right. What else? Apple. Let's check out NVIDIA. We haven't looked at NVIDIA all afternoon. All right, here it is right near 1160. I mean, as the market falls down, it just gives you better opportunity to buy. And I don't know if anybody else did. We sort of made our moves here with the Qs and Apple, but NVIDIA, a huge move down right there as well. And, you know, we can call it a huge move. I mean, 1166 down to 1156. Either way, it's still $10. Doesn't really matter the name that you're trading. It's just this one you're going to have to watch very closely because what looks good could easily turn against you real fast, and then the next thing you know, you're wiping out levels. The liquidity is actually pretty good. Like 34 million shares on a $1,200 stock. I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot of vol on that one for volume. So, I mean, good job there coming through. We'll see if it can hold. Again, the 200 period looks a little bit better. We already highlighted the trade that I would have in this space, and this one is a slapper. That AMD short through 160, I mean, it's too bad that we were looking at the futures, but that was a great opportunity right there. Like if you're just looking to get into a chip name and you hadn't got in yet, that was an opportunity. I think AMD goes a lot lower now. So tomorrow on the sticky note will be AMD and it'll probably be short 160. So let's just hold off on that for now. But that's my initial thought there with advanced micro devices. Apple still trying to go higher. We already had that bid come through. That's just going to be a good one there. And let's just continue to see about it because if it continues to hit at some of these levels, we know we like it. So far so good here. And yeah, let's just, I don't know if we'll put anything else on. I mean, it's 3:30. I want to put something else on. The market's going to have to hit. And this is the thing too, is that, you know, we'll talk about, I think they mentioned it in the midday show using smaller shares and things like that, and that's what they were calling the big kahunas, the small kahunas, and this and that. It's just when you have trades, you have trades. It's not when you know you got it. It's just you got to have that ability to put the trades on, you know, and that's the one thing there. So once you start putting trades on, it will all start to hopefully make some sense. And yeah, thanks for looking there. There's been really no halts to talk about too much today. That MLGO is a mover.
Look, the halters are stocks that you don't want to trade because they're halting when there's literally no volume. If it ain't done 1 million shares by now, you don't want a piece of it as a day trader. I promise you that. Like Intel's at 30, but there was no bid. Like this morning, there was chunk size sitting at the 30 level. When it got down there today, I looked at it and like, there's nobody interested in that bid. If it bounces, great, but it's a gimmick trade when you're going long right in front of size for a bounce. When it's momentum into the bottom, very different story. I just missed. You know what? There was someone. It was Ike in the chat was just mentioning. He said thank you for Shopify. Look, for myself, Shopify didn't get to $60, but I just wrote down shop on the iPad in front of me where I keep my notes to remember. Hey, above 60, you're looking longs. It did do a dip. Down into 60.10 or so, just not quite into there. I just feel like if you're gonna get out like 59 like 95 or something like that, I would have liked it ticking underneath 60.10, but that's just risk to reward. Because I look at it, where's the high of the day, I look at how much I'm gonna end up risking in the trade. If you're risking 15 cents and it needs to break the high of the day at that point, if I get in here, that's a tricky trade that if you put it on 10 times out of 10, it's like your win rate needs to be pretty high. And that's how the math works. I always like to look at it that way because your cost of doing business, the second you're in a trade, if you're long and you have an out, let's say you have a stop at 59.5 and you have a long at 60.15, that 21 cents for as many shares you put on, to me, that is gone. And then at that point, that's the amount that you paid to make that trade. And so like from there, you work backwards the other way around there. So it's like how much do you make versus the amount that you lose at the end of the day. So Shopify, love the long, but it doesn't mean you take it just anywhere. That said, I will not be, unless this is underneath, well underneath 60, I feel like you're looking for a long in this bad boy today. I feel very similar to, like we keep talking about Rivian as it keeps bouncing off that $10 level. I know it's down today, but you know, down 2 points, but still kind of holding that upward trend after that $10 bounce. Like I like these things that have formed bottoms and are trying to break out off of clean support levels. I like to respect those if we can. In 1 minute, we're gonna get an early look on imbalances. I would not suspect anything, but you just never know. If something comes out big, we're gonna react to it. I'm not expecting a heck of a lot there at all. You know what we didn't do? We said we were gonna get Randy to talk about XOM. For the record, I put my stink bid on Oxy that I said I would do this morning. I'm bidding $55.42 on my personal account on Occidental.
What's it at right now?
This is XOM. Oxy, I don't know if it broke. When I type in Oxy, the first thing that came up in the drop down was like a Brazilian stock. I don't know why that just happened. No, Oxy managed to hold on to like 59 today.
Oh, you're bidding 55.
Oh no, you go to the daily chart.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's like the Buffett bottom's not like at 59. It's down here at like $55. So like I actually want it to get down.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to. You know what I mean? Like if the buyer's at 55, it's like wait for 55. I don't want to give up any extra juice on that trade if I don't have to. So it's already worked once for me, but if you've been trading this for the last 2 years, then it's been working multiple times. Since 2022, there's at least 7 or 8 tests of $55 on Oxy that get you back to the $70 level. So as long as that keeps happening, why not? And if you like dip buys and oil finds a local bottom, all the better. It just happens to be a level. Every time it comes back out from 55 through 60, we always hear about in the next 13F filing that Buffett owns more shares. So you tell me what's happening. I'll just buy with him.
Rivian Millionaire, Buffett's cost base is 62. Okay, all right, so right now, just real quickly, Lululemon, not a name to be dip buying. I do not believe they're gonna be reporting soon. This is where dip buying's gone wrong. I've had lots of these trades before as well. And this one just continues to go lower. Wait for earnings on those guys coming up tomorrow or later on this week. Okay, market's coming back in. We will take a bid on the TQs, and guess what? 5% left now of Apple as it hits the 50-period moving average. So that's trading, and that's Apple. And sorry, here come the TQs again. I thought I had a bid here at 10. Where's my bid? My bid's at 08. Okay, well we went to got that 10 anyways, right there. So let's bid 15s right here. See if we get that. Maybe we just bid 16s. We'll see if we get a nice pullback into again here the 200 period, and then we will just start to there. I'm bidding 16s, so hopefully that will fill. It'll have to go through us. We're going to get paid on the gateway, so hopefully that will come in. Yeah, and then we'll go get some water. We'll get set up for the after show as well. So hopefully that comes through. Apple doing its own damn thing. Apple's actually going higher as the market comes in a little bit. So that out might be a problem. We just have 5% left. We talked about how Nike's been moving around a little bit there. Shakib in the chat earlier this morning was talking about PayPal. I like PayPal. Oops, I just typed in Shakib. That's hilarious. PYPL there. I like the name. I mean, we've talked about PayPal a couple times here on the show, and like I was mentioning, like the name, still holding on to a little bit of it. That is PYPL, and I haven't got out of any of it, so it's just not been a big position. Maybe there's some buying opportunities here. I don't want to recommend anything until we're like above the 50 period, and then for me it'd have to be like a break above the 68. So that would be something else. And again, let's just review some of the trades that I talked about the last little while for potential breakouts and stuff like that. We like Roblox 34. These are trades that have been on the week in review. So they go out, Adara does them. They've gone out now for 3 or 4 weeks. We've added trade ideas. So we had Roblox breaking through 34 as one of the ideas. We had Shopify breaking through 60 as one of the ideas. So that's right here, right now. And then we had GME long Monday. Oh, wow. We had just talked, I mean, this trade wouldn't have really been able to hit because we had talked about it on Friday, going out Friday, that we liked the long. So just Monday was already so huge. So those are just a couple ideas that I like for the low there. I did buy some more Snowflake during lunchtime right here, right now, in and around 136. It's taken a little bit of a dump as well. This is a name that, we have Snowflake, we have Palantir. I like these names for the future. We'll hold on to those. And then the most recent big position that I put on was Apple down there. It's just south of 170. We talked about it on the show. It's been well talked about many times. And I just wonder right now, as we get up to all-time highs of Apple and we await their big WDC conference, WWDC, and Worldwide Developers. So we'll have to wait to see if it does break through all-time highs. I'm debating taking a little bit off right now, to be honest with you, just because I had bought right here and we got lucky enough. We actually bought it, I think, this first time there against this. We just wanted to get it. Then it came back in, and we were like, uh-oh, it's going against us. And then whoop, right back up to the upside. So we did have to hold this about $3 or $4 against us. And now the fact is it's in the money 25 or so. So that's pretty good ratio. And you don't want to turn your winners into losers. But Apple is just one of those stocks that if I made the decision in the last 5 days, I would have been wrong at any point. So we'll wait. It's up to the highs right now. Thinking about taking some Apple off, maybe tomorrow on open, something like that. And then we can sort of judge it from there. We can always get back in when it breaks 200. Like, so that's the other thing. No matter how you're doing it, you may want to look out for that. Is AMD still below 160? I mean,
but it's not getting anywhere close.
Sure is.
It's a lower high at 159.5. It doesn't want that 160 level. There's only about 15 minutes to go. Ben Ruggiano just said, I give you my best, and then he mentioned Boeing and UNH. You know I'm in UNH. Well, I mean, I'm in Boeing, but I haven't recently bought any Boeing shares, thank goodness. That's about the best I can say for them. But I'm actually looking at UNH because I recently bought this on the 450 level. Oddly enough here, not down there. It's been 450's been support, but I might ring Reggie on this if it can't get past the 200 period moving average. And I only say that because I've been thinking about like where I want to put some shot plays in there, and where I want to get some more Eli. Like I want to get more Eli Lilly, and I want to consider what I want to do next with Moderna as well. But yeah, UNH, if it can't get above that 50 period, sort of 200 period moving average, or fails around here, I might take some out if it can't hold this $500 level. And as far as Boeing goes, you know, I like the fact that Boeing is making a bit of a bottom, but I'm always more interested when it breaks out this top. So great start for Boeing, up 2% today. I think a 190 breakout looks pretty good. I think it gets bullish through the 190 level for Boeing. The fact that there hasn't been any, I mean, it's not the end of the week yet. It's like the beginning of the week, but we started off with really nothing bad here for Boeing in this run, and we continue to do that. So the last thing we heard from them was like no executives are getting criminally not indicted, but no criminal charges over some of the issues that they've had. That's not bad news. I don't think that's that big of a deal, but ultimately that's not a bad thing for them. I'm trying to be patient with this 160 on AMD, but you start to run out of time. And if it keeps on putting in higher lows and then screams into 160 bucks, and that's not necessarily the trade. A stock that makes a bottom like this, that starts breaking back higher and shorting into it, is a dangerous game. You kind of want to take the sell wherever the stock happens to be turning. So the only thing I got was just, you know, that trend break on CCL. It made a double top. I kind of scalped that because it's the same level. Maybe we'll still wait for VWAP, but AMD's running out of time on us here for any kind of a bigger move. And I think the right decision not to go long on Intel because there was no bidders at 30. That might be a short. You can risk the $30. Yeah, it's starting to run away, but it's not that far away from the 30 level to not look at this. Intel tends to have an imbalance that'll pair off. So even if it comes out pretty big, you're usually all good with Intel. It won't move that much at 350.
All right, TQs came right back, and we took that profit at 16. So now we're pretty light on that one, which has been amazing because as the market's fallen down, and again, the long that we really like is Apple, and it just continues to go higher. Okay, we can look at, Starbucks. I don't know, Tesla right here. It's 337. My daughter has a base. I got to take her to a lesson tonight, hitting lesson.
Ooh.
So we'll go there tonight.
All about that elbow.
Yeah.
Everything that they used to teach and used to say, it's interesting. There's something called appealing to authority. There's a lot of hitters who will say, they'll be like, oh, you hit down on the ball, and then if you look at videotape of their swings, none of them do this. Nobody does that. Right. Every single person does this.
Right.
It's the first move. Its elbow comes in and there's a turn. And it's like, even when they say they do that, you get them in the cage, and it's like, that's the first move in there. And we got a kid, he's not coming tonight, he's our best player. And he's already got that. And
I mean, that's T-ball, right?
Yeah, no, it is what it is. Like I've told him, because we do some coaches pitch, and because he can cover, if I make a bad first pitch, he'll just hit it anyways. And I've told him, I said, look, man, you're good enough. If the first one's a bad one, I'll get you a good pitch. Like you don't have to take that swing at it, because he has to tell. Most of the other kids are going to swing at all of them because he's trying to make that contact. But
yeah, we only threw about 200 pitches yesterday, and it's only 44 feet. So for me, I can do that all day. I could probably throw a couple hundy pitches that far. Okay, so I'm going to have probably arm problem, but I'm surprised my arm doesn't hurt. Okay, so is Aaron any good, by the way, or?
Oh, and for her age, certainly she is. Like
That's what I'm saying, like compared to everybody else.
No, like her bat to ball skills are really good. She just has no interest in playing the field. She likes catching.
That's playing the field.
Well, no, I kind of mean like infield and outfield. Like it gets out there and she just doesn't care. But you put her behind catcher and she gets interested.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it is what
well,
it is.
we'll
Like
see.
she's
We'll see. Still young.
yeah, she's still way too young to care. At this point.
How old?
She's 7 years old.
Yeah, so
She's just trying to figure out what she likes, and
that's important. Yeah,
I'm
that's
putting no pressure on her. Like soccer, some days she loves it, some days she doesn't. Gymnastics,
Yeah.
she kind of always loves gymnastics, which is cool. But we're just trying to figure things out. I know she'll love track and field, but I think you don't need to do track and field until you're older. You're gaining nothing by being in a track club when you're 7 years old.
No.
If you're
no,
fast, you're
of course
fast.
not.
You don't need to learn the refinement until you get to like high school.
No.
I know some people that do that. It's like, why are you getting your kids training like they're Olympic athletes when they're 10? There's no point to do.
Well, my daughter trains like an Olympic athlete when
But
she's
it's a
10.
skill
But that's
sport.
because it's
Skill sport, yeah. Track's not a skill sport.
Right,
It's
okay.
not. It's athletics. It's very different. Like, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm surprised you said the track is not a skilled sport. That's interesting.
No, meaning that there's only so much.
Like, I thought you
there's
could-
only so much you can do at an early age. Like it's not like cumulative. Like if you play baseball or hockey, there's like a cumulative gain in terms of learning that skill. With track and field, your body is not developed enough from a strength and physical standpoint that you learning the proper way to run at 7 is going to do you any good. By the time you're grown, you're going to have different body mechanics. It's just completely useless. Like
Okay, yeah, no, I get it. I just know, I know a lot of girls that do a lot of training in track that are 7 and 8 years old. So that's why I'm asking. I just don't know.
The Dutch have the best model for it. In the Dutch, the best, the Norwegians, the Nordic countries, they are fantastic at not having anybody specialize in athletics. They'll do like heptathlon and decathlon, and some of the best athletes, they won't even do, they had a girl who wouldn't even do the 100 meters until she was like 24 years old, and she was like a world champion in the 200, and she was doing multi-sports.
Yeah.
She didn't specialize till she was 20 years old. And within 1 year, she was a world champion.
Yeah, you want to be you have to be an athlete.
Just be an athlete first, and then worry about track.
No matter what you're
it's all
doing,
good. It is what it is.
You got to do that. The problem with baseball for girls is there's no future unless you switch over to softball.
I don't want to think about that.
I know, that's
She
the
doesn't-
problem,
She
so.
actually doesn't want to do softball. Every time I've
Yeah. Well, and I didn't even know that. Like Marissa was like, because Gia's really excelling, and it's like, what do we choose, hockey or baseball? But for females, unfortunately, even in the States, everything is softball. I didn't realize that. I thought there was some hardball.
those scholarships. Look, man, scholarships are like you can get great scholarships.
I'm saying even to
softball,
play, you can't
but,
play
like, there's-
professional baseball as a
no.
girl. Yeah.
No,
There's no
like
money
there's
there.
like there's absolutely no money.
There's no
Like,
league.
no
Not
league.
there's no money. There's no league.
Like softball, you can get a scholarship.
Right, and that's, I think that's, I mean, ultimately you should play sports for fun, but at the end of the day, that'd be nice to get a scholarship anywhere, of course. Okay, here we go. So it's 3:42 right now. There ain't really that much happening, to be honest with you. We did pretty good covering that TQs. Now, I told you we had 5% left of both of these trades. So we have 5% of Apple and 5% of the TQs. I think we did a very, very good job trying to hold on to this, and we'll just wait now. So here we go. Into the close. We said we wouldn't do that much. It's been a great afternoon. We mentioned that. We probably added about 35 to 40% to our net here, just with these two trades with Apple going long there, and then this move there on the TQs. And then we did cover, I'm just using that math, but like we did cover some Micron down here. So part of this, I guess, added a little bit to the net, but not much. And then we did get out of our Tesla. So that profit became realized. So I actually consider this a win, like a big win for Tesla, because obviously we would have loved to hold it for the high of the day, but the fact that we got out there and saved it, because normally we would use the 50-period moving average, so that's 177. That little break there is 176.75 or so. So we probably saved ourselves about 25, 40 cents on that, and then right back in. And remember when we were dancing around VWAP there, we were like, ooh, we like this kind of VWAP, but again, the market just overtook that trade and just kept pushing it down. So right now, I think you better wait. I was like, let's wait for 174. That didn't come in. Now I do feel we will close the trade today, be exactly where we need to be, and not have anything to worry about at our high of the day, not having our last trade being a loser or anything like that, and feeling good about it. So I think that's part of what you want to be right there. So go long TQQ for some pocket change? Yeah, I mean, maybe, but we only have 5% left. I think I'll just cover it if it comes back into this 30 level, maybe the 200 period of 16, if we can get that. And then we can go long for some fun. Did you even look at the imbalances yet? I didn't.
No, the early look was not.
Pfizer's a sell.
Look, if something had
I'll
popped
get
up,
some
believe
water
me,
and
at
come back.
3:30, if a name that anybody cares about pops up on the locator, trust me, we'll let you guys know. But I mean, Pfizer it's like in the Intel bucket. Like if it comes out big size, wake me up when that size is still there at 355. That's about the only time I'll be interested. Pfizer, Visa, Intel. There's maybe like 5 or 6 names that the second I see it on the imbalance locator, I'm immediately thinking no move. You know, like nothing's gonna happen there. So we had Intel underneath 30. Like there's the breakdown. We had 99s. It got to like 95. I'm just gonna get out at 2s. At this point, if it wants to reverse, you don't want to get trapped at the bottom. You don't want to turn that into a bad trade. But it was starting to lose that 30 level. And guess what? Just bounced and is about to go to the all-time high again. Probably NVIDIA. You would have guessed that. NVIDIA bouncing off 1155. It continues to run. I guess 1200 is definitely going to be interesting. You know, I feel like everybody's been saying 1,200 by the split. Well, the split's already essentially here because it's the end of this week, right? Like the 10th should be on Monday. So, you know, once the 10th hits, it's going to be a stock that I think everybody is trading. If not, I haven't traded it as much recently. Like we tried one breakout. I wasn't nearly as bullish on it as we were the last little bit, and that was a mistake. But once this thing is underneath, you know, that about $100 when it splits, it's going to be nasty again. And we saw that with the Amazon split. That became a stock that people traded on a regular basis and a much better day trading vehicle. Sometimes that's all it's about. It obviously doesn't really do much of anything, the fact that you're going to do a split, but it's a little better for options traders. It's a little better for day traders. Some people are just more comfortable getting involved with full lots in their long term, buying this thing, although you know, there's always other ways that you can do it. So I don't think it changes a heck of a lot, but certainly that buy into the event trade has worked. I would caution that once the event happens, you know, you saw Walmart ran into its split, then didn't do much in the couple of days after. Like it had to pull back and then go again. I think you might get some of that with NVIDIA. They might sell it a bit after the split happens. It'll run into it, and then you'll get a bit of a dip, and that could be a buying opportunity for us.
All right, we did just get a nice little move down into the 50 period there for that, so it is
Another one.
on
Another one.
the TQs. So we'll just take that out right there. We said we would take that out on a dip, so we're going to do that. I mean, we just posted also up there on X about this, like what a day it's been on Apple. So, I mean, we were long early down here at 193, and we are once again long late off this level as well. So, I mean, we just put some damage on the board here for Apple. Like, to me, this is exactly what we want to try to do, is try to trade the names, try to be calm, try to trade the names that we believe in. And today for Apple, we went immediately over there on this move down. And again, you know, these levels have to hold. Like, we don't have, trading is very, very luck based as well as, you know, being able to find levels and put yourselves in better positions. And I just think if you put yourself in the right position, then you don't need to have the ultimate amount of luck. You just need to be able to control the downside risk so that when you've seen something happen before, you can take advantage to it, knowing that, hey, you could get stopped out if this does break, and I'm going to size accordingly to that because, you know, my risk tolerance is associated with that. So, you know, that's what you have to do all of the time. And I mean, just even right there on that Apple dip, so we get out of the TQs because we were thinking the same thing. We're above the 50 period and we held VWAP. So just as someone in the chat said, Sean, go long on the TQs. What did I say? Like, we're already holding Apple long. So to me, that's the market anyways. And then we said that we were going to get out. Like, you want to talk about having a plan of action? Like, I said we were going to get out at the 50 period moving average down here at 30. We got 32s. So I don't ever sit exactly at that level, but we do there. And that's 32 cents, sorry, grabbing that in. So that was a good trade. And then now here goes Apple back up again, 194.80, up here 195, 195.20. So as we continue to go higher and higher and higher, these are the levels that we get to. So, hey, we're going to have a great recap show. We have Brian Shannon coming on, the best in the business, literally, coming on the show immediately. Love that guy. We talk about many different trade ideas all of the time. So make sure that you do join me, who of course is losing my voice, but we'll still be there. And then I think, is it tomorrow I have a game? I do have a game tomorrow, so you'll be watching tomorrow and you can lament in Lululemon. I believe
That's what
tomorrow.
Oh, 100%. Lulu's tomorrow. CrowdStrike obviously being the big one tonight. Lululemon is easily the big one tomorrow. Let's not forget about Nike, that massive V-shaped recovery today anyways, and then maybe like a 96 break. Last trade for me, of course, was CCL. And if it's going to go 90 was the top, and if you're going to get 85, then when it breaks the high there, lose 2 cents. Just get it out. Like, everything is relative, right? So at the end of the day, like you said, you want your winners to be bigger than your losers and all that kind of good stuff. So not going to hold this one against. I'm going to get rid of this trend line, because if I don't, then it's going to be there tomorrow, which I could care less about that line tomorrow. It's completely irrelevant. But I do not want to sleep on, I know you just mentioned Lululemon, but I don't want to sleep on Nike. It pulled back when the market pulled back. But tomorrow, like, I've already going to have this lined up. I think the pullback just gives it another chance that you're not going to be closing at the highs, so a better chance to get a breakout tomorrow on Nike. Good consolidation, good trend reversal on this name. A lot of things working well for it on the daily chart, setting up the day trade. I just like trades where you have multiple levels that are kind of conforming to each other. The imbalances just dropped, not a heck of a lot. I mean, AT&T's 1.5 million to the buy side. Still waiting on some NASDAQ names to maybe populate at the highs here. TRP, who cares? FCX, not a big deal. Walmart, that's 750,000 on Walmart. It's nothing. So not really seeing any of the big NASDAQ names in there. Momo, 600,000 shares to buy.
Momo.
You know what? Well, sometimes when those randos have like numbers like that, like 600,000 shares is actually the whole day's worth of volume for Momo, which is weird. Yeah, still no big names on the NASDAQ. We'll keep it up for a minute or so, but there's literally nothing. Like, Apple, usually, after about a minute, you'll see Apple pop up there, but nothing. So Pfizer ends up being a nothing burger. The imbalance is pretty much a nothing across the board. So it doesn't have to be something. Some days there's a move, some days there's not. It just is what it is.
Did we post the market recap thing to retweet? No problem, me and we still friends? Okay, so there it is, man. Nice little win for us to end the day on Apple. So I'm going to get the heck out of here as Apple goes. It didn't quite get to that Dollar Club member, but it still got pretty good all the way up now, 70 plus cents. So we'll take an offer here in the 70s and get that going right now. I guess I better go retweet that, as Brian has already retweeted that coming through right now. So I'm going to go over and find out and show you guys, where is this guy? Where is he? There it is right here. Hey. There we go. Where's Brian? There he. Where is he? There he is, right here. We're gonna have Brian Shannon coming through tonight. That should be an absolutely great opportunity. So I will say, yeah, buddy, and retweet that myself right there. So join me tonight on the recap show. We'll have to talk about GameStop, CrowdStrike. He's talked about Ethereum before. We talked about Tesla, his love and hate for ARK, so on and so forth. So we'll get ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna flip over there and just shut the thing down right now. Apple, I don't know. I was waiting for 70. Let's just offer out now and get out here. I mean, it's starting to go to the downside, so that's good. TQs, whoever recommended that to go for Little John, you nailed it. Good job on that one. You're probably a real one as well. So shout out to that. Shout out to my lovely wife. Thank you to Ramin, Brendo, Neil, Adara, Sharif, everybody for a great show. Congrats to Big Patty Ice behind me for no reason other than he's a good guy. So shout out to Big Patty Ice there, Jag beside him. We've got Josh over there rocking it as well. Everybody here at Real Trading, Toronto office. Good luck. They're all going golfing.
Yeah, all the clubs are back there
tonight right now. So
a great day for golf.
Yeah, it is the best day for golf. So all right. Yeah, go start stretch out there, BPI there. Get some stretching going on right there. Make sure that you're ready to rock and roll. All right, I'm ready to rock and roll. We're gonna go over to the desk. Yeah, I see you, BP. And we'll get ready to go. So it's 3:53. Neil, take it over.
We'll
Good
take
day
it
today.
to the close. Great day today. Like, it's been one of those fun days in the market. Always better when things are up, and when the net's up and the market's also up. It's much better. I've said this psychologically over and over again. Like, a day trader can make money going in either direction, but you have a heck of a lot more fun when you can look across the board and, like, things that you hold are doing well. AMD, maybe not so much. Just one. We haven't really talked about GameStop much today. I think for a good reason. It didn't really do much, but it just lost VWAP, and it's going to close down 5%. So, that breakout at 28, the great thing about trading is I was going to take a 28 break on GameStop. Now, we said that at 2 o'clock. I like the break. I think there's room to 32 if it goes. But you know what? If it doesn't go, it doesn't go. You don't have to make a trade. That's the best thing. I have one trade on GameStop today, and it was VWAP to the high of the day. I wanted a break as well. Unfortunately, we just didn't get it. And there's just not much you can do about it. MLGO is continuing to go. So let's just have a quick look at MLGO. It's still going, but compared to what this was doing earlier in the day, I'd say it's not a heck of a lot here on MLGO. Unfortunately, I can tell you I was trying to get this halt trade. I was just not fast enough to the bid. When this halted the first time at 596, I was all on the bid. I'm like, I'll just take that first halt. The way I saw it, you're like, is it probably gonna, if it goes higher, great. If it didn't, probably gonna open above $5. So you're risking within like 10 to 15%. And then look when these things go. 4.5 million share float on this thing. And it's 173 million shares worth of volume. I would caution everybody, if you get winners on stocks like this, everybody has to do their own thing. I started as a trader, like when I started trading, I first made money as a day trader, as a penny stock trader. And then the first like buying the market or buying mutual funds, like the first actual trade in my personal account was on penny stocks because that's kind of what I knew. And I made the first trade I made the cardinal sin of getting a big winner when one of these things went parabolic. And then you know what I did with it? Didn't take the win and then ended up losing like on a move like all the way back in. I learned that lesson the hard way early in my career. And I don't do it anymore. Like if you get a win on MLGO and you're not happy with taking some money out, I think you can be in a little bit of trouble as well. But yeah, it's just absolutely insane what this stock is doing. I have a lot of respect for, anyone that kind of finds these ways in. But yeah, it can be a little bit tricky when you're holding on to those. I can do it. I just got to get I don't have it up there, Ramin, so I'll have to find it in a quick second if you give me a second to be able to do that. But MLGO, strong mover. If you're still in this, I still think like aftermarket, you could get one of those big dump zones, which we have seen in the past. And like I said, when you go out to the daily chart and something looks like that, you've got to ask yourself, like, what do you want to do with this? Like I know what I would do. And quite frankly, it would be taking profit off. So good luck for anybody out there. But got to drop and take care of some business because this afternoon of hot fire in the markets, trading and all that good stuff brought to you by American Airs, trading the USA under the symbol AAIRF and in Canada under the symbol Wi-Fi, WIFI. This company just announced a knockout punch, a global marketing partnership with the UFC. Airs Tech is dedicated to bridging the gap between technology and wellness. Their mission is to provide cutting-edge solutions that protect against electromagnetic radiation without disrupting everyday use of technology. This innovative company has seen consistent revenue growth in both several high-profile customers like Russell Brand and top UFC athletes. Invest in American Airs today, OTCQB, AAIRF, and on the CSE with Wi-Fi. So there you go. There's another look from them. Appreciate them, of course. And wow. NVIDIA. We got 2 minutes left. NVIDIA is at an all-time high. I'm just going to hit this one, and it feels like we should hit this every single day for NVIDIA. There you go. Double top, all-time highs. Wherever it closes is going to be an all-time closing base high, obviously. It's not at the high of the day today, but wherever, as long as it doesn't pull back underneath. I guess technically it could drop like $15, but it's going to be an all-time high close for this. Even AMD got with the party, getting back into 160 at the end of the day. Remember when I sort of said, yeah, you give it a chance for that one dip, but you don't want to get caught shorting at the same level as it's ripping going into the close. Because if people take profit on AMD, then it's shorts taking profit, and you get this massive bounce back into the upside. Nasty day for this stock. One of these things is not like the other. I would slap the same thing on Intel. Like one of these things is not like the other. You've got strong chip names. You've got weak chip names. Speaking of which, I'm just going to point. We haven't talked about ARM like once today, but ARM still holding out. Like this caught a bottom. This caught a bid. This is still upward trending, holding above the 120 level. put some respect on this name, even though it's down 1%. ARM has been holding a pretty strong channel to the upside. I know I ignored this one today, but that was a miss on my part there. Shout out to you, Bears versus Bulls. And you're absolutely right, guys. Like, there's just absolutely nothing, no need to be away from the chips. If you were short AMD, you were gold. If you were long NVIDIA, you were gold. If you were short Intel, you were absolutely gold as well. If you were long MLGO, you could have been making money off that. That's the best thing about the markets. If that's your cup of tea, I didn't have an execution on this. Like, I wanted one trade on this stock, and it was here. I didn't get it. I didn't trade it. You know, actually, that's not true. I wanted to dip back into $6. It never happened. Like, out in here, I said I'm going to buy a dip into 6 and give it that whole price. And then it proceeded to bounce off $7 because that's how the market goes. You can want what you want, but the market's going to do whatever the heck it decides it's going to do. And then all you can do is read and react. So with about 30 seconds to go in here, you're not going anywhere. In terms of earnings, you got CrowdStrike, aftermarket. Tomorrow we'll have some Lulu, but it's a big CrowdStrike. Watch out for some sympathy plays. Palo Alto is likely to move off of that as well. Sentinel 1 and Zscaler probably going to move as well. But let's get the camera off me. Let's get it on over to the bell with Adara, because we only got 10 seconds left until this market closes, and it's closing on an absolute run to the upside late. So let's drop it in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it, Adara. There you go. Market closed. MLGO closes at 12. And NVIDIA, more importantly, I told you anywhere it closed was going to be an all-time high close. 1164 for NVIDIA. NASDAQ, 0.25% to the upside. ES kind of flat there, but the real story is going to be NVIDIA. An absolute monster move. In the chat, right at the close, AMD got sold into the close. So a bit of a sell event on volume in AMD, down 2%. Just not a great day for them overall, holding underneath 160. You know, AMD, like I said, is just not a great stock right now. It's in the penalty box. I think you can see the 200-period moving average. I put a stink bid on one name today on Oxy. I might do another one here on AMD. We'll see what happens. A big shout out to Ramin and Fabian on the 1s and 2s, and thank you, Ramin, for that chocolate, the truffle, and the Saudi chocolate bar that we got. That was delicious. So appreciate that. And the midday, great job as always with Adara and Sharif with Learn to Trade, talking about borrows and locates on short names and how you can use them to your advantage when taking trades in short squeeze. I think that's a fantastic topic. As always, we're always really happy to have Frank Cappelleri come through. Great job as always with Brendan as well at the desk. And you know what to do at this point, because it might be 4 o'clock and the market might have closed, but you got CrowdStrike earnings, you've got trade review and lots of great trades to review today at the desk with Sean, with Adara, and the guest, Brian Shannon. Let's go get him.
All right, welcome everybody. We are now here for your market recap show, and what a great day it was. One more time in the market, Adara. How was your afternoon?
My afternoon was good. We filmed the week ahead, so stay tuned for
Ooh la la.
that coming on Sunday. But yeah, just kind of chilling, getting some stuff done. What about you? How was your afternoon?
Give me a big earnings play next week.
GameStop.
Perfect.
I have no
That's the
other
only
one.
one I could think about, so I was like, hopefully she says something else. But
There's also Adobe and Broadcom.
ooh, there we go. I
But
didn't
I'm gonna
realize
stick
that.
with GameStop.
Broadcom, I think, is a big one.
Oh yeah.
Broadcom, what's been happening in the chip space lately. So, yeah, look, today, thank you for joining one more time here today. Okay, look, let's just go over some of the major sectors quickly as we go. The triple Qs today up 0.2% as NASDAQ continues to climb off of the strength with NVIDIA. I mean, that was an absolutely great move today back for the futures. We did have some up and down movement early on here. Let's go to like a 5-minute chart. Let's go to 15 just to see. So a little bit of a dip down early, bought off of 451, closing not near the top, but we already saw that top, coinciding with where we were a couple days ago. So we have to watch out for that. Yesterday's top, also today's top. Maybe we'll see a break tomorrow. I'd like us to open up above this 455 to really see some strength. So let's see if we can get that. Good news from Apple. We'll probably do that. We'll see if it can come through. CrowdStrike in just a couple minutes, so stay tuned for that. We're ready to go for CrowdStrike, Adara. So you let me know when that does come through. Of course, we do have a lot of our viewers with us again right now, so shout out to everybody who's here on the chat. What's up, Bonzi Fonzie, and everybody else that's in there right now. Oh, yeah. What color of the nails did you go with? Oh, purple. Okay, so you got the purple,
The
more,
lilac, yeah.
more purple. Okay, thanks, Adara. That's good. Someone in the chat just asked, so I saw that. We will look at CrowdStrike. We did have the SPY today, also closed just green. We were looking at that at the end of the day. Nice run up to hold some of those levels, and again, does not break yesterday's high. So they're all kind of the same. One other market that hasn't been the greatest, IWM. Pretty weak name here. If we flip over to the daily, some of these small caps, you do have a lot of big names that have taken out the highs or are in and around the highs, but not the Russell 2000, starting to go a little bit lower. Oh no. Oh no! It looks like copper making a move to the downside right now. Nice little gap fill back in, right to $44. Look, we talked about this with the strong weak US dollar, weak oil as well. Sometimes the oil look will lead us lower into possible. I'm not saying that we are going to have a recession, but this is what the watch is right now. As we get copper to the downside there, whenever you get copper moving down, Adara, you get sort of a disconnect with building and manufacturing. So if the price of copper is coming down, then that means potentially demand is also going down. So if we're manufacturing less, building less, copper to the downside, potentially signaling weak economy ahead. I don't know. UNG also, we saw a good move up for UNG over the last couple of days, hit down there today. Here's XME. This is actually something that was brought to my attention by some of our guests, and that is all metals and mining downside right there today, including the gold miners, GDX again going lower, silver down 3%. So a lot of these flight to safety, Neil talked about uranium a little while back as well, breaking through 33 well. That was a failed break right now, back down into the 50 period. That could be something. Okay, Adara, let's go over. CrowdStrike is out now. So we'll hit bang for that one. And ruh-roh, nice little move to the downside right now. 282 for CrowdStrike. We are starting to go lower. This don't look good right here. CrowdStrike, we're looking at 12% implied move. That gets us in and around 254, 255. CrowdStrike is out now, Adara. What do those numbers look like if you do have them?
So for Q1 revenue, we had a beat. 921.036 million versus the estimate of 904.7 million. So they beat by about $17 million. Not at all a bad look when it comes to revenue. Q1 net income USD coming in at 46.264 million. What other numbers are we getting here? They're seeing their full year total revenue between 3.9676 billion and 4.01 billion. So that's not a bad look. Full year adjusted income, they're seeing 985.6 million to 1.013 billion.
That's the difference.
So they beat on revenue, yeah.
Yeah, so the difference there, the only thing that it looks like they miss is the forward guide. So 985 billion versus 1.0 something billion, that's a forward guide look, that's a miss. Yesterday, look, we said it live on the show before GitLab's earnings even came out. We talked about it on our show at 8:30. I thought GitLab was gonna be a miss. GitLab misses, down 5% today. So that's a nice move to the downside for GTLB. We didn't really give a prediction or anything for CrowdStrike. The space, we saw PanW not performing that well. CrowdStrike, we knew they were going to have a good quarter. That's not what it's about. It's always about the guide. So CrowdStrike with a downside move there, coming into 280, 287, and looking to go a little bit lower even through that level right now. Goes CRWD, so let's watch out for CrowdStrike. We'll have to wait for the earnings call to see exactly what's up with that report right there. 93 cents beating 89, sales of 924 beating 904. So something coming through there for CrowdStrike. I like the name. This is part of best of breed. I'd buy this dip. I'd buy this dip right now. I think into here, 280, 290. I think that's a good little look to start a position. I don't own CrowdStrike. They'll be talking about what's Palo Alto doing. This is a name that I bought for a minute, and we like this name. The last buy for me was down on this first dip right there, and then you hear everyone piled in on it, and it also came back in right there as well, 267. So now Palo Alto coming back. So CrowdStrike with an early disappointment here today, which kind of sucks. It puts my mood fine. We had a really good day trading, so we're fine with it. But again, those of you taking shots on CrowdStrike, just to tell you, and its implied move was 12%. only down 6 right now. We have Stitch Fix, S-Fix now out. This used to be a name that we used to watch a little bit. Again, pretty destructed there to the downside. They've had a hard time, which was once a COVID darling, Stitch Fix. Do you know what Stitch Fix is?
Their clothing.
What made you think that?
Stitch.
Very good, yeah. So during COVID, yeah, good call. I like it. Ed.
I thought it would be a safe guess. Why not?
You know, this was a $100 name. Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
So what it is delivery of outfits. So for example, they're a box. I don't know, what do you call these companies where you can get like a random box delivered to your door? And what it is that you'll fill out, they're not gift boxes. There's a name for
like the
these.
form.
There's a name for this business. Yeah.
I'm sure Shark Tank would know the name because it's a lot of.
What was that? No, it's like not a loot box. It's like Bark Box. You fill out like what dog you big, medium. So anyways, same thing with clothing there. You'll say, I like to wear blazers or whatever, or I like to wear this kind of clothes, and they'll send it to you. That's what Stitch Fix is. So of course, during COVID, I guess a lot of people not shopping, they thought that there was a thing there with that, But now with people going back to work and actually shopping again, maybe Stitch Fix is not that loot crate. Yeah, I don't know. There is delivery boxes. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. No, there is a name for these. All right, so Stitch Fix. Before we go on, what this is called exactly, and I want more help in the chat. If you guys know what it is, let me know. But right here, Stitch Fix right now. I don't know. You could. Do you have the numbers, Dara? I have them here.
We get the numbers. Yeah, we did get those numbers. 322.7 mil in revenue versus 306.1 million revenue than expected. That is going to be a beat. 322.7 versus 306.1. That's a nice little beat there. Their Q3 adjusted EBITDA, 600.7 million versus the estimate of negative 2.37 million. Is that ever a beat? So it looks like they beat across the board. That's a nice report, really nice report for Stitch Fix. They fixed their earnings clearly.
Yeah, they stitched it up. They got it all closed up, and then they're right there. Nah. I know you and you and Sharif go back and forth with the puns. Sometimes I think they're too easy. That was an easy one. They stitched up their problems.
I liked it.
Yeah. We'll see if they did or not. But yeah, subscription service. Shout out to Dan McIsaac. There's a subscription box. There's a few of those that are out there where you can jewelry ones and things like that. And then Bark Box is a good example of the mystery box. Pandora's box. Don't open it up. All right, CrowdStrike, just real quickly, let's go back and have a quick look at that. Look at what's happening at CrowdStrike. Oh yeah. I don't know if CrowdStrike heard what I said, that I'd be buying this thing right here, right now. But there it is, a nice move back up. CrowdStrike now saying, no, we could potentially be flat on the day with a nice little move back up there for CRWD. I mean, again, best of breed name in not even that long of a time. I mean, this CrowdStrike, just look on the daily, really is rocking. Obviously, you did have a pullback there. Try to buy weakness, I feel like, but ahead of earnings. And we can even talk about this with Brian. CrowdStrike, I thought they were actually a newer company than this. Yeah, okay, so 2019. So came to market $64, $65. You could see they did have for a while. I mean, they came to market back in June of 19. They don't actually break out until June of 20. So it takes some, get my mug off of here just for a second, Fabian, if you can. Yeah, so there's where we IPO'd right here, June of 19. CrowdStrike just starting to get going there, June of 20, and then really retested that level, wow, of $100 back there in beginning of 2023. And since then, you've seen just a nice move up, tripled up in just over 2 years. So a nice move there for CrowdStrike, right back up there to the upside. And now guess what, Adara? Oh no, is that true? What's happening to CrowdStrike right now? All right, hold on. We're almost positive on that move right now. Yes, we just touched 310 on a wick higher right there. I thought we turned green. CrowdStrike battles all the way back as that. Chewy's another example, yes, of that as well, the subscription box. So I saw some news today go through on the marijuana sector. I thought there was something that hit there. We did see a nice little move up there, sort of midday, or maybe it was right into here. Right at 10 o'clock, we had a move up and then another move up, so worth MSOS. Some wording in one of the bills changed a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I don't trust this as far as I can throw it, honestly. These marijuana stocks just don't seem to be the right play until you get something. So I'd rather buy it higher than lower. Feel like we could make a move down, hovering around the 200 period. Not super attractive right there to me. Let's just have a quick look at some of the stocks.
Yeah.
You know,
also, some people want to talk about Hewlett-Packard earnings.
They're out?
Yeah, they're out.
I didn't even see that they were on the board. All right, go ahead.
So HPE, they beat across the board. Adjusted EPS 0.42, so 42 cents versus 39 cents expected. Revenue, nice little beat here as well. 7.204 billion versus 6.823 billion expected. I put this in the chat as well in case anybody missed that. But though we did have a beat for HPE. Also interesting, HPE earlier today, there was a rumor circulating that an activist investor was interested in, so this one got a little bit of a move ahead of that report, but it's a beat across the board and a nice little move out for HPE.
Yeah, nice move there. We did see some Dell action going the other way, so it's nice to see Hewlett-Packard now upside. Does Dell play off of that? No. Dell had a great run. I mean, this could be one of those other names where you're going to be talking about, do you have fish? It's actually pretty good. The white fish with the coconut?
It was good.
No? Too sweet? It was too sweet. It was too sweet. Did you like it?
I liked it, but I like fish and coconuts.
Yeah. So we had today, I think we had, was it egg salad? I don't know, but afterwards I chopped one of those fish in half and had half of it. It was actually really good. Okay, so Dell, just one of those names I think is down to the 50-period moving average. Maybe we'll talk to Brian possibly about some Dell, because on that HPE, again, good stock, not the same, Hewlett-Packard versus Dell, but you do see a nice little push up now in the after hours for Dell, up now, or sorry, for HP, now up 7+%. So there it is, man, nice little move right there as well. Let's just see what's happening here with GME after hours. Not much. People are talking about some MLGO again. You know, par for course right now. Coming back in today's low there for MLGO again. Remember, in the after hours, you're not going to get as liquid of a stock. So this is what it looks like right now in the after hours. So MLGO, again, like levels, you can wipe these levels out. Like just each one of these is 100 shares. So in a stock that did 180 million shares today, you could wipe this level like all the way down, and then the next thing you know, you're at $8. Like from $9 to $8, there's going to be hidden shares in here as well. But the posts on the book, like if you get traders pulling some of these bids, this stock will absolutely tank to the end of the day. Oh, you know what? We're on Trade Review. Check out this. We could talk to Brian about this one too. This Apple, I mean, you know, this is a trade right here, honestly. This today, we bought Apple early. We talked about putting a bunch of capital into this down near that 193. We really like that dip level off the open. We traded it a lot. There it is, 193 came in. Huge move down. We were looking for the long. We're able to hit that on Apple and bring it all the way up, 194 and change. And then right at the end of the day, we dipped down again and we said, like, let's buy some strength, like weakness on Apple. Sorry, buy weakness into a strong name. We knew Apple would work today. Oh, we didn't know it, but we thought it would. And a good move up there. See ya, Ramin. Apple. So that was a good trade to go there today. On what I thought was going to be a great trade. And again, Brian and I have gone back and forth about this. And remember, when we have some of our guests on, we have to talk about some of the time frames that people are trading, right? And I mean, Tesla, if you look on the daily chart right here, it's been pretty dead for a minute. Like, it hasn't done anything, honestly. I mean, sure, you get bumps up. China full self-drive is fantastic. Nope, not really. All the way back down. And then, oh, something happens back down. And then today, we got news from Elon Musk diverting some of the chips that he had ordered, apparently for Tesla, over to XAI. So, again, not doing much. But look at this. For me, no. Almost opposite. I like when it's sort of, again, I keep doing full screen. I don't like the way it looks. So let me just do this quickly here. So far here today, there it is. We bought that dip on Tesla down to 174. We let it run up to where we got out of our last 20% at 177. Hits VWAP. Hey, Brian's right there. Yeah, like that VWAP. Nice little move up there to VWAP. We take a piece out. It dances around. And then really look how it plays with VWAP all day. It doesn't do much in the middle of the day there on VWAP, but then once it breaks higher and breaks through, that's where we get that run up to 177 before the pull back in. So today for us here on Tesla, started off with mug off just for a second there because they can't see this. That's okay. There it is right there. That's the low hanging fruit there early on Tesla, 1016. It came into 174. And again, just for everybody that's watching. I was just looking at Brian over there on Twitter to see what some of his ideas were today. But we had this right here on our sticky note. There's Tesla 174 long. I mean, we talked about it. We wrote that. We liked it. I like the story with full self-drive and some of that China stuff. So we take that long right there. We take the Apple long. We take the GME, what didn't happen. And then the Google short, we could talk about that as well. So yeah, good couple trades there hitting today. I like those. But right now, we have our guest of the day. And it's going to be Brian Chen. So let's hit that Trader Talk. Hey, Brian, how are you doing today?
John, doing all right. How are you?
Good, not too bad. A little tired. We were at the Diamond a lot this last weekend, and we got some sun. So around here, it's actually pretty warm right now. It's about 80, 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're doing pretty good here in Toronto. How about yourself?
Probably about the same weather-wise. Decent day in the market. Real low volume once again. I mean, we got the push Friday afternoon that kind of kept us from a deeper pullback in the markets and just two real low volume days. The good news is we're holding on to those gains, and I think probably in the next couple of days setting up for a continuation higher.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I actually talked about that on the show today. So many things working in the favor of a higher market, I feel like. A lower U.S. dollar lets tech stocks repatriate their money back into the U.S., lets foreign investors invest their capital at a better interest rate or a better exchange rate into these markets. We have yields coming down, NASDAQ and SPY hovering near all-time highs. And of course, earnings were pretty good. I mean, no matter what we want to talk about, we saw the biggest one of the year maybe with NVIDIA continuing higher, pushing all-time highs. And again, credit to you, Brian, and some of the work that you've been doing. I talked to you, I said, does NVIDIA have that $1,000 target on it? And we both thought at around $950 or so, that's where we were going. Did we have to withhold a little bit of pain as it danced around? Yes. But at the end of the day, the moves seem to be higher right now. You getting nervous about any of these longs?
Not necessarily. I'm never really nervous about them so much, Sean. It's about where, if I initiated them in the proper place and I know where my risk is, I don't get nervous about them. It's just, as you were mentioning just prior to me coming on, it's about time frame. So if I've got a shorter term time frame, and you've got an even shorter time frame than that, then I'm not concerned. I heard you talking about Tesla, and that's why I have that up here on the screen. And we've been trading in a really tight range. You can see the boundary, the upper boundary has been really well with the year-to-date anchored VWAP. That's right here. And we keep coming up and getting rejected at that level over and over again. So, on that daily time frame. Now, on the support side, what we're seeing is the anchor off the year-to-date low has been really just holding it in here the last 2 weeks or so. So what I think is likely to happen, or what I'd really like to see happen, Sean, we've got the 50-day moving averages advancing. I'd love to see a shakeout in Tesla like this, a quick recovery, come back up here, and then bust through and continue higher. That's, to me, the bullish scenario for Tesla, but we need a nice shakeout first. It's the support holding here is just a little bit too obvious, so I think you're going to break it first.
Brian, great. I was looking at Tesla too, and I know we trade on smaller time frames. I like that 174 as a bottom, but I think, the consolidation right now, often when we get this kind of movement, as you were just showing, definitely looking to break one way or the other. I still feel like Tesla is so attached to the news. It's like what is Elon doing? And then we have the politics coming through, and China and all this stuff. It's like, all right. I guess that's why, I don't have much hair, and it's just like I pull it out, and then it's gone forever. So we'll figure that out. I wish I was as handsome a guy as you there, Brian. All right, let's move on. I just perused through your Twitter feed. And you know what I'm noticing a lot about you lately? Crypto. So we had Michael Noss on yesterday, and he absolutely loved the Bitcoin chart. He said he hasn't seen much in the way of a better setup for Bitcoin to move higher. He's long Coinbase. If I call up that Coinbase chart right now, and he was just on the show last night, and again, a big credit to Michael. He was talking about it after 2 straight down days. And then now today, another 5% move to the high side. So, man, I don't know what's up with you CMTs, but you seem to like the long heading in here for some of these crypto names. Coinbase, you mentioned even Solana. You could take this anywhere you want to go right now, Brian. I'm pretty pretty bullish. I said I feel like BTC 100, kind of the same way. And maybe that's a little immature that we talk about levels that are just like 50 or 100 or 75. But really, we don't know where it's going. But I think it looks pretty good setting up for some longs right now.
Yeah, I mean, why not 100, right? It's we see that in stocks a lot. It is kind of uneducated, and but markets are drawn to round numbers like that. The Dow 40K, we've got NVIDIA 1000 was that magnet there. And it doesn't mean they're going to stop at that level. But, for Bitcoin, it's really been behaving well around these anchored volume weighted average price levels. What we saw just last month was the test of the year-to-date anchor right in here. And my camera's in the way, so I got to go like this. But, it nailed it perfectly right there from the beginning of the year. And that's where this rally emerged from. We got back above the anchor from the year-to-date high, or all-time high, really. And we've been consolidating above that here in a tight range. And just yesterday, we kind of got going again. And that's where I really kind of got bullish as well in JC's morning show. Well, you guys are already doing your thing at that time. But right in here, we're back above a rising 5-day moving average, and that got me excited about about Bitcoin. Solana is probably a couple days behind it, I think. Let's start with the daily time frame there. You can see that here's the anchor off the year high, and we've been consolidating above that after this most recent bounce. It hasn't closed below that anchor from the beginning of the year. Now, when I switch to a 1-hour time frame, here's the anchor off of the recent high, and I don't know why it's anchored there. Let's delete that and do a redraw. But you can see we've been stuck underneath the anchor from that high.
Right.
And that also coincides with this 172, 173 level that's been a little bit of resistance in here recently. So I think Solana kind of does something like this, rallies up and either just breaks through and continues to go, or it kind of battles with it a little bit and then gets going. But Solana is probably my second favorite right now in these cryptos because and even Ethereum though, Sean, I mean, I expected more of a consolidation after that ETH Trust news, but we're just holding on really tight to that 30% gain that came on the heels of that Ethereum ETF approval.
Yeah, I was going to mention that just to throw you with a little bit of credit on that Ethereum spot, because you were here talking about it and saying there was a possibility that we had that premium. We saw it with GBTC as well. And then, of course, after it was approved and there was more opportunity, then you saw the outflows come through there. And we again talked about it due to management fees and whatnot. Adara has a question for
But yesterday, so thank you very much.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Hi, Brian, hope you had a great week so far. Thank you so much for being here. I know about a month ago on the market recap, you mentioned TJTX. I was wondering if you have an update on that trade or any other new names you're looking at right now.
Yeah, that's been, I think we spoke about it last week as well, and it's really kind of been a disappointment. And to me, it tells me again, this is why I try not to read the news and make opinions based around the news. I don't know what's going on with my charts. I seem to be frozen here. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but that's, I'll keep going.
We can hear you.
Okay, TJTX, it's broken some support. The shorts, by the way, did cover about 20% of their position. So
I'm just showing it on my screen. Oh. Okay, that's right. We'll take it over. Yeah, it looks like we're having a little bit of problems. If Brian can come back at some point, we'll have him through there. But just to answer his question, or just to go over sort of what he was saying there, Adara, yeah, I think he's right. I mean, it looks like it's stuck in this spot here. We did like it because of the short float. Nailed it down here on the 200. Nice little gap. Looks like the gap could get filled back to the 200 spot. So we'll talk about that. The last question I wanted to ask Brian before he had left, and by the way, who's on CrowdStrike? Put it up right now. I don't know what calculations everyone was doing there when this market was going to the downside, but CrowdStrike said, hold my beer. Yeah, two of me there. Sorry about that. Hold my beer to the upside right there. As you go into 320 right now, Adara, it is starting to scream higher. There goes CrowdStrike right back in, taking it out. I mean, again, it's going to be disappointing for traders playing options. because if you don't get the implied move, it's going to be hard to sort of cash in on anything. But CrowdStrike, I mean, yeah, okay, good. Brian's back. I'll get him in a second. Yeah, Brian, I just sort of covered that TGTX there for you. Any last second thoughts? We'll throw it back to you in just a second. But CrowdStrike right now, if you had any thoughts on this as well, what a change of direction there. Guided a little bit lower, did put out a good quarter. Generally speaking, on guides, Brian, we've had moves to the downside and continued moves. I mean, even the best of breed with PanW there hasn't really been performing so well. I mean, it looks okay. 50 period, 200 period, earnings date dropped down, and again, saved a little bit there by CrowdStrike. There was also PanW, because that was down to 287. They get back $5 or $6 now. But if you're back there, Brian, any thoughts there on a CrowdStrike? And I know you and I don't trade, put positions on too much before earnings or even immediately after, but I like best of breed names. CrowdStrike seems to be performing that way. The chart looks healthy. It's a triple up since those 2023 bottoms. CrowdStrike CRWD, great turnaround off of earnings. Anything maybe anchored there year to date or anything like that that shows possible support here for CrowdStrike?
Yeah, it found its battle here the last couple of days, right at the year-to-date anchored volume weighted average price, and that's that purple line over here. We had a shakeout after the earnings right away.
Yep.
Now we're up to the anchor from this most recent high, and I think you probably see it settle down in the next few days. That 5-day moving average settles out, and perhaps it's ready to get going again. So you got to be impressed with this reaction to the earnings, and after that spike lower, that it came back so quickly. And too bad you didn't have your finger on the buy button, as you mentioned. You thought it was a buy there, Sean.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I was like, I'd buy this right here. I like it, but you know what? We just throwing stuff around. And the thing is too, I feel that we talk about this. You would never, or maybe you do. Let's maybe talk about position sizing. If there's a trade that you like, that falls back into a level, maybe if Solana were to break that 174 or whatever that sort of top level is, on that breakout, is that something where you'll go in with almost full confidence and say, you know what, if $1,000 is my max size per trade or holding that I wanted to have, that was my maximum position, would you go in right there, all of it on that break? Would potentially you leg into that trade if you do get that break? You nibble a little bit now because you like it and then add to it. How does that work? Is it very stock specific, or do you have a generic kind of way that you enter into trades when you like them?
For stocks, it's different than crypto. Crypto, I think, doesn't give you the same opportunities to,
Okay.
We get the breakout and then it pulls back and it shakes people out for a couple days. In crypto, what you often see is it breaks out and it just goes.
Right.
So I'm long some Solana now. I'm not up to my full position. I think depending on how it gets through that 73, 74 level, then I probably will get fully positioned into that. And thank you for covering TGTX, Sean. I wasn't pretending I had an internet issue to talk about a trade that happened.
I don't know what trade you're talking about.
But TGTX is still something I have an interest in because I read the story. But like I said, even in this one, I mean, it shows me the danger and tells me why I repeat that phrase to this day, only price pays, because I read the news about this. It's a good drug, it seems. People,
Right.
Say it's doing good things for people. They're selling more of it. The earnings are going up. There's a big short position. Shorts covered 15% of their position between, after that earnings report over here. But it's just been a dud right now. So I'm hoping that this stock can recover from what looks like a head and shoulders breakdown right here, that this ends up being a failed move, and then maybe it gets going. But I have some longer term call options, which I bought way back over here, and they are deteriorating slowly in terms of the premium. But as far as stock, I don't own any of it. I'm looking to get back involved, hopefully. But only price pays. You've got to, no matter how much you believe in a stock, I think you've got to just listen to the price action and move to the sidelines when it tells you you're wrong.
I think you have to have your rules, and I think that you've definitely laid them out for all of us. And not only have you laid them out for us live right here as well, But this is what we've got right now. Maximum trading gains with the anchored VWAP. Brian, great job on the book. And of course, everyone can go find this. The option to grab it on Amazon as well. It still is on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Yes, there it is. So go at Alpha Trends right there on Twitter, and you can find Brian all over the place. Anything you're doing that you want to promote right now, or just go find you somewhere on the socials?
Yeah, just go find me on the socials. You know, get my. Some people don't know that I do a free Friday YouTube, and I often do it on Wednesdays as well. It's a little bit more in depth about the market, so you know, check that out as well.
Good, thank you so much. Brian Shannon, again, always a pleasure and some great ideas, and thank you for looking into some of those ideas for us. We'll do a Q&A with the audience one week. I think that would be a lot of fun as well. We've done that before. So, Brian, thank you so much, and have a great rest of the week.
You too, thanks.
Ciao, there it is. That's Trader Talking again. One of the best. I mean, I feel very, we always feel very privileged to be able to trade every day. At least I do, and to be able to talk about it. Isn't that amazing that you say that and you've just really started trading over the last 6 months? So it's crazy. That's really, yeah, isn't trading one of those things that once you become, I don't want to say the word is obsessed. I mean, I pretty much am, but it's just a slight bit. It just gives you so much, in my opinion, to look forward to all the time.
Oh, yes.
You know, and then we get people like Brian that come on, and then it's just like, all right, here's another side of everything, you know? Yeah. Like looking at the anchored VWAP, talking about some of his strategies, talking to him about crypto, and then just saying, hey, look, another thing to trade. We have Danielle Shea, which will talk about options, right? And then there's Brian talking again about position sizing, how he would trade crypto different than equities. We had Michael come on, talk always about weekly trades and some swing trades. Then we have Luis Barbado from our Barcelona office that loves to talk about high running stocks, short float names, little names moving around. I mean, it's just no matter what kind of a trader you are. And then you and I have been dabbling in the futures lately.
Oh, yeah, we have.
So we like a little TQQ action. Yep. So that's been happening there. We had some SPY today as well. But at the end of the day, we got to thank everybody that comes on the show. So, and we can't do anything without everybody that's watching. So let's do a quick little roll call. The biggest roll call shout out always has to go to the man, the myth, the legend himself, and that is Bears versus Bulls. So a big shout out to you, Mr. Bear. Hey, Mr. Bear or Bull, are you a bear or a bull these days? I mean, we never get his opinion on which way he's thinking.
I don't know.
All right, Bears versus Bulls.
I know he trades the SPY.
Yeah, so I want to know if he's a little more bearish or bullish. Maybe the sticky note will be based on his feeling tomorrow. We'll see. O's here right now. Brian plays hockey, does he? I'm going to ask him about that next time. I think we had talked about that. He might be into hockey. I'm not sure, though. We had talked to him about it. Skiing. I know. We've talked to Brian about that a couple times. Yeah, here we go. It's roll call time. So who's here right now? Hey, Dan McIsaac is here. He's still looking for GME. I am buying you a Lambo, Sean. I mean, color it there. You'd probably say purple based on your opinion for today?
I like pink and I like teal. So teal.
Hey, Rivian Millionaire, my guy, send it all black, man. All black everywhere. We got that Rick Ross. You know, we've got on so the wife drives an Atlas. It's I don't know the rim size, but they're
big old rims.
They're big old rims, black on black on black on black. And so since, you know, the wife, we'll be taking her around.
Nice vehicle.
Lambo. I like black. I can get a white one.
Wow.
Shout out to Rivian Millionaire either way. What's up to NIO Roberts? That was hilarious. Dan's here. Scott Edwards is here. The Piper's here right there. Bears versus Bulls to shout out to the best trading community in the world. You've got that as well. Hold My Beer's here. Jason Wolcott is here. Shura Punjab Stud Farm is here, whatever that means. What's up, Rivian Millionaire? He's sending it over here. All black, that's good. Running is not a skill. I mean, look, sometimes Neil gets a little carried away. He said track athletes are not. It's not a skill. He did defend it, so I'll leave it to him. We can talk about that tomorrow. What's up to everybody here? Christian is here. Aaron's here. MTF King Kong is here. King Kong. Hey, Shadera is staying late. Yeah, I mean, traders stay late.
Traders do stay late.
You know what? I was thinking about doing like 1 week me, 1 week Neil. That might be fun.
That might be fun too, yeah, switch it up.
Maybe we'll do that moving forward. But hey, we appreciate everyone that stays with us no matter what's up with that. Adara, we talked about purple. What did you give another Lambo color?
I gave pink and teal.
Pink and teal. Okay, that's what it was. I wasn't sure if it was what was going on there. And then if you could have one thing for dinner tonight, which you probably could have whatever you want. I mean, you're a grown-ass adult. What would it be? What are you having?
Well, I'm basic. I usually do tuna,
Okay.
A tuna dish, but I know you like the tuna in the salad, so maybe you're down for that. I like the tuna. I like some kale. Always like to get a little bit of vegetable in there. And if not, I don't know why I'm feeling like Popeyes, so maybe we'll do.
Oh, damn.
But I'd rather do the tuna. We'll see how I feel.
So funny story about Popeyes. Shout out to QSR. That's their, well, no, actually it's RBI, Restaurant Brands. So, by the way, my kid was like, hey, he loved KFC. Like, he just started eating KFC.
Yeah, he's a big
Yeah, he's 12 years old. I mean, he's been eating it for a minute. But everyone at his school was like, yo, you got to try Popeyes. So then he's like, we got to try Popeyes. So I took him over there to Popeyes. He likes Popeyes. So now he's all about that. So we're doing a little more healthy, though. The wife is using the air fryer.
Oh,
so like panko crusting a little bit there, throwing it in there. She had some bomb chicken. The chicken sandwiches last night. Oh,
what do you want? What are you guys eating tonight then?
Oh, it's really, I forgot. Is my wife in the chat?
She sends you a whole menu, doesn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, well, we talk about it. Honestly, I'm obsessed with my wife and with trading. So it's a salad. We've been having it a lot. It has different kinds of salami, olives in it. It's like iceberg lettuce. Oh. It's a really great. I'll find the name for it tomorrow, but it is really, really good. All right, we're out of here. Thank you for watching. Thank you to our friend Brian Chen, and of course, thanks to Adara for staying late. Thanks to Fabian as well for staying late. We do this really cool thing where we say bye and then we get up. So let's do it right now. For Trader TV, Sean, that's Trader Adara as well. We'll be here tomorrow at 8:30, and we'll see you then. Watch this. See you guys.